Pirates Full Level System, Chapter 201-220. Chapter 201 Complete Abuse. The hands suddenly swelled up, like dough being pulled into noodles, and stretched out in a zigzag way, similar to Luffy's rubber fruit ability, but Charlotte Katakori's mochi mochi no mi, in addition to stretching, can also stretch people. Bound. As long as you are hit by Katakori's moves, everything you touch will be stuck, and eventually the enemy will be unable to move. Only way to crack the mochi mochi no mi is to touch the moisture. As long as it touches the moisture, the stickiness will disappear. However, the Ninetales did not know all of this. Little devil, your long tentacles are really disgusting. The old man will prune you well. The 9 tails of the 9-tailed demon fox stretched out naturally. During the conversation, the tailed beast cannon was directly condensed in front of the 9-tailed Hun. The violent energy swept across most of Fishman Island, and some civilians curled up in the corners trembling, sweating. Some civilians were terrified and shivering. Whipped up bricks and tiles, and at this time, the Fishman Island swept the wind, and everyone who blew narrowed their eyes. 9 tails, don't play too much, just suppress them. Chinluo frowned slightly, his palms involuntarily hugged Momosagi's thin and soft waist. Momosagi felt the warmth of Lu Yao's waist. Vivi frowned and looked at Chinluo. Chinluo shamelessly opened the topic and said to Juwei seriously. Yes, master. Vivi, the tailed beast bullet in front of the 9-tailed Hungarian, shrank a little, but the terrifying energy contained in it made Charlotte Katakori's pupils shrink. What a strong energy fluctuation, what kind of devil fruit ability is this? Why doesn't it feel like it? HMPH, kid, it's very dangerous to be distracted by playing tricks with this old man. Juwei Yingxi's face sneered, and the tailed beast bullets in front of Shangqin also shot out suddenly, bringing a white line in the air, and the surrounding dust being blasted out by such a huge energy, the entire Fishman Island began to shake. Bastard, these 9 tails are really a headache. Chinluo frowned and criticized seriously, but his palms climbed along the beautiful curve outlined by Momosagi. Hey, wolf, there's no end to it. Momosagi's lips pursed lightly, the last trace of self-confidence disappeared without a trace. Momosagi stared at her beautiful eyes and looked at Chinluo angrily. Who? Where are the wolves? Where? Bastards, there are wolves, so you must be protected. You can't suffer. This, Chinluo was in a hurry, and hugged Momosagi directly with both hands, but when she was caught off guard, Momosagi's whole body was close to Chinluo's body. Looking up at Chinluo. This guy looked at the quartet in a serious manner, waiting in a serious line, as if he was a righteous and awe-inspiring gentleman. Quote. After struggling a few times, I noticed that Chinluo's arms were very hard, but he still didn't break free. Looking at Chinluo, this person was saying something shamelessly, I will protect you, you can rest assured, etc., which made Momosagi quite speechless. After twisting twice, Momosagi could only blush in anger, bowed her head shyly, and let Chinluo hold her. And this scene fell into the eyes of the commoners of Fishman Island, and all of them were shocked. HMPH. What's so good? Smelly man. Tsunade wrapped his arms around Hungary, speaking sour, his beautiful eyes swept towards Momosagi, who was held in Chinluo's arms. Insignificant. Cha flashed a touch of envy. How wonderful to be protected by such a man. Although Tsunade hated Chinluo when she first came here, but after a short contact, she found that Chinluo is not bad, not only not bad, but also has some kind of attractive charm. Bastard, how can the old lady disturb her thoughts because of the love of her children? Tsunade shook his forehead violently. Chinluo observed Tsunade's mood swings, turned his head, and glanced indifferently. Look at what? Tsunade, I'm tired, I'll beat my back. Why? You forgot, you will belong to me for the next 50 years. If you don't want to lose your virginity, then you should lose your integrity. Hurry up and hammer. Humph. Tsunade glared at her eyes angrily, and finally swallowed her breath, and obediently massaged Chinluo. At this moment, the entire battlefield was blazing hot, and I saw the tailed beast cannon roaring past. When it was close to Charlotte Katakori's body, it suddenly exploded, and countless smoke and dust rose into the sky, like a huge mushroom cloud, covered by black clouds. The sky was dark, the sand was flying, and the entire Fishman Island was in turmoil. In the center of the explosion, circles of gray smoke and dust spread out, like water patterns. Cough cough, cough cough. Katakori came out of the explosion in embarrassment, his whole body charred black. Even his legs were severely deformed, and the rectangular rice cake covered by armament hockey was also shattered by the explosion. Is this ability of yours so terrifying? Katakori's pupils tightened, and cold sweat broke out. Little devil, you were beaten like this with just one tailed beast cannon. You are much weaker than Whitebeard. Ninetails gave Katakori a disdainful look and smiled. Whitebeard. Hearing this, Katakori trembled slightly and said in disbelief, have you seen Whitebeard? I've seen it before, this guy was beaten up by my master. What's the name of his subordinate? Marco the Phoenix, you know it. Phoenix, what's wrong with him? Katakori said in panic, lips white. Although he didn't know Lu Yun's ability, he knew Whitebeard's strength. Even their mother would not dare to confront Whitebeard. At least not now. He was almost beaten to death by the old man. If it wasn't for the boss to stop him, I'm afraid Whitebeard would have collected the body for his son. Ninetails smiled and looked at the little devil who was already in chaos in front of him with interest. Nonsense. The Phoenix Marco is a rare zone mythical. It is rumored that he has the ability to undead, and his body is inflamed. Even if he is seriously injured, he can survive. You actually said that you almost killed him. This is absolutely impossible. Katakori stepped back, analyzing. Don't believe it. Jue raised the corner of his mouth and said with a smile, since you don't believe it, then you believe it. After finishing speaking, the red light on Jue's body swept out violently and filled the whole body. After that, the figure nearly doubled in size, but the constant churning energy in the body made Katakori sweat. Fox coat. With a shout, the periphery of Ninetails' body was covered with lava-like scarlet chakra. Just in Katakori's brief stunned moment, Ninetails had already carried a huge chakra and fought away. Claws were sharp and swept towards Katakori, and bursts of air bursting sounded, and cracks were printed in the void, and 5 huge and astonishing red lights swept towards Katakori and landed on his body. The sticky iron wall. Katakori looked panic and hurriedly stopped him. 5 cold beams like sharp blades swept past, and the waxy iron wall suddenly cracked, and the gullies were shocking. Chapter 202 Suppression, 1/5. I beg to subscribe. Katakori's chest rose and fell, and he quickly retreated several steps back, before looking cautiously at the Ninetails in front of him. Ninetails just grabbed. If he didn't hide quickly, he might have been disemboweled by the opponent. He had no idea that the strength of this big talking fox would be so terrifying that even the sticky iron wall, wrapped by his armament hockey, couldn't stop the other's sharp claws. Ninetails are all weapons, whether they are claws, teeth, or tails, they are all powerful and a real monster. Chinluo hugged Momosugi in his arms, and kept exploring it slowly with his big hands on him, making Momosugi tremble all over. He couldn't help but give Chinluo a blank eye. The wolf wiped his oil, it was really blatant, and there was another so many people are watching. Especially Tsunade, who pressed Chinluo's shoulder while watching him tease Momosugi, always felt a little uncomfortable in his heart, and wished that Chinluo was holding her. Hey, the generals under Bigu Mum have this little strength. With your 3-legged cat skills, you dare to come to Fishman Street. Is it too arrogant? I don't know who this is. The sight. Chinluo looked at Katakori with a mocking expression, completely disregarding his livid face, and became provocative. This is the second time Big Mom has sent someone to Fishman Street. Chinluo originally thought she would come in person, but even her number 1 Admiral Capone Beige was killed by herself. With the strength he showed, he sent 2 sons over this time. Isn't this a raffle? HMPH, Lu Yun, you don't need to provoke me, it's nothing to rely on the help of your subordinates. If you come to try it out with me, you are definitely not my opponent. Katakuri, who was ridiculed by Qin Luo, was furious and couldn't help but glared at Qin Luo and said provocatively. He could also see that Lu Yun never made a move from the beginning to the end, and only asked two men to help. Perhaps Lu Yun himself is not strong at all, just pretending. As long as Zhejiang Lu Yun personally fights against him, he will be able to seize the opportunity and take Lu Yun as a shield, but he doesn't listen to everything. Boy, it's useless if you want to provoke this uncle. With your strength, if you don't cooperate with me, it's more or less the same for Bigu Mum to come. Qin Luo looked at Katakuri with a sneer, and was completely unmoved. For him, to deal with two small characters, it is enough to have 9 tails and Uchiha Itachi. If any small shrimp wanted to challenge him, he would have been too busy. Qin Luo was the one most afraid of troublesome people. In front of this old man, you dare to be distracted and provoke the boss. I think you are courting death, so that you can taste the power of this old man. Nine Tails said with a roar, the aura on his body became strong, and the 9 tails swung out, turning into several black shadows and lashing away at Katakuri. The face of this overwhelming terrifying shadow, Katakuri was also shocked, but his reaction was very fast. Originally, his strongest was observation haki. His 5 senses were extremely sensitive, and he could often make reasonable predictions the moment the enemy launched an attack. Therefore, although the 9 tails attack was fast and ruthless, Katakuri still reacted. I saw that his legs suddenly turned dark black, and armament haki covered his thighs. Nuo tomahawk. One of Katakuri's legs suddenly swelled and turned into a huge black whip more than 10 meters long. With a flick of the leg, the black thigh was raised more than 10 meters high, like a giant battle axe, slashing towards the black shadow from the 9 tails in front. Bang! The thighs wrapped by armament haki collided with the tail wrapped in the demon fox coat. Immediately, a terrifying storm burst out, swirling around, and the ground was blasted open with huge cracks, and the powerful energy instantly destroyed many surrounding houses. Surrounding Fishman Island, and some pirates trembled in fear. All of them were crawling on the ground and did not dare to move, with a look of horror on their faces. Boy, the response is very fast, so don't blame the old man for being rude. Seeing that Katakuri's attack was once again stifled by Katakuri, Kuo immediately felt that his face was very shameless. He is a dignified 9-tailed monster, how could he still not be able to clean up a little guy? The boss is watching from the side. Can't be cowardly. Thinking of this, the 9-tailed demon fox no longer hesitated, and the aura on his body skyrocketed in vain. The gigantic chakra rolled on his body as if it were boiling, and with a roar, a dark red-tailed beast jade condensed out on his chest, and ejected towards Katakuri. Look, this old fox with 9 tails still can't hold back his breath, and he's really moving. Hey, Jue, you can take it easy, don't tear this kid to pieces, it's still useful to keep his life. Qin Luo sighed and reminded. Hearing Qin Luo's voice, the 9-tailed beast jade couldn't help but weaken by half, but the breath was still extremely terrifying, full of violent breath. Poof! The tailed beast jade turned into a red light, and instantly shot towards Katakuri. The speed was so fast that it was in front of Katakuri in a blink of an eye. Glutinous iron wall. The face of this terrifying tailed beast jade, even if Katakuri's observation haki was powerful, he couldn't completely evade the blow that was locked in his breath. In desperation, he could only create another glutinous iron wall, and then the whole person began to quickly backstage. Bang! Katakuri still underestimated the power of Jue's anger, and the waxy iron wall in front was instantly smashed by the tailed beast jade, and it was as vulnerable as paper. Ah, damn it, why are you so strong, a fox? Katakuri let out a scream, and the whole person rolled for dozens of meters. After hitting many houses one after another, he stopped vomiting blood. After a few seconds, Katakuri staggered, endured the pain all over his body, stood up, and looked at the Kyuubi who was facing his return with a look of fear, with a look of despair on his face. This fox is too strong, and 3.0 is not something he can stop. At this time, the battle between Uchiha Itachi and Charlotte Cracker, who was next to him, also began to come to an end. Ninjutsu, Dragon Fire Technique. When Itachi opened his mouth and spit, a roaring fire dragon rushed towards Cracker with his fangs and claws. The fire dragon carried a terrifyingly high temperature. Under the attack of the fire dragon, those biscuit soldiers only lasted for a few seconds before turning into ashes. Cracker hurriedly swung his sword and slashed the past, turning into countless powerful and unparalleled sword chi, and slashed on the fire dragon, barely dispelling the terrifying fire dragon. Don't move, I can't keep your head safe if you're moving around. Suddenly, Uchiha Itachi appeared behind Cracker with a sharp kunai, holding it on his neck. Chapter 203 Unconvinced Ninetales. Charlotte Cracker swallowed hard and looked shocked, not knowing what was going on. How is it possible? I turned on observation hockey. How could you sneak up on my back without me noticing, and dare to attack me, despicable? Charlotte Cracker naturally doesn't know that Uchiha Itachi's kaleidoscope writing wheel is very terrifying. With powerful illusions, it is easy to make people fall into it without knowing it. This is what Itachi is powerful. HMPH, just you bastard. I don't need a sneak attack, I just let you fall for my illusion. Idiot, when you were fighting outside, you were already in the illusion, and you didn't find it with your strength. It's also normal. Uchiha Itachi looked at Charlotte Cracker indifferently. The kunai in his hand was on his neck, and the sharp edge was against his skin. As long as he dared to move, Uchiha Itachi could cut his throat in an instant. In the end, your observation hockey is still too weak. If your observation hockey is as strong as Katakuri, I won't get it so easily. Uchiha Itachi said calmly. For the use of Illusion 15, he can be said to have a strong innate talent. Even in the entire Naruto world, his illusion skills are definitely the top one, so there are few people who can hide through the illusion that he unleashed with all his strength. I saw the dark red kaleidoscope writing wheel in Uchiha Itachi's eyes slowly dissipating, and Cracker suddenly felt that something was missing from his body, which was a spiritual feeling. Uchiha Itachi, don't be too complacent. I just made a fool of myself. If you dare to let me go and fight, I promise to beat you to the bum. After Charlotte Cracker was controlled by Itachi, she didn't forget to shout, and she didn't change the worst problem. Uchiha Itachi frowned Vivi, raised his hand, clasped Cracker's neck, and then raised his hand and slapped it. Crack, clap, clap. 3 slaps on his face slapped Cracker's mouth fiercely, causing his entire face to swell up, leaving a trace of blood on the corner of his mouth. Let you talk too much. As a loser, you should look like a loser. I cut your tongue. Uchiha Itachi grabbed Cracker's neck with one hand, lifted him up in the air, looked at him indifferently and said, "No, I don't dare, forget it, I'm wrong, okay. I admit defeat, admit defeat." Charlotte Cracker was caught in the neck by a ferret, her whole face turned into a pig's liver, and she quickly cried out for mercy. "Master, how do you deal with this guy? I think he is very dishonest, or he will kill him." Uchiha Itachi threw Cracker to Chin Luo's footsteps, then stepped on him, and said in a cold voice, "No, no, I'm one of Big Mom's favorite sons. You can't kill me, or my mother will be angry. Killing me is not worth the gain." Charlotte Cracker was startled when she heard Itachi's proposal, and began to struggle frantically. But Uchiha Itachi Vivi stepped on his heart with a strong force. If he moved, he would definitely crush his heart. Cracker stopped struggling and looked at Chin pleadingly. "Yo, you've been defeated so quickly, Cracker, aren't you good? Weren't you still clamoring for me just now? Why, you're cowardly. Tell you, even if Bigu Mum is here, if I want to kill you, I will kill you, and she can't help you, do you believe it?" Chin Luo looked at Cracker at his feet with a sneer. As long as he was willing, raising his hand now, he could kill them without any effort. Cracker looked at Chin Luo's indifferent eyes, and his whole body trembled. Only now did he realize that they had provoked people who shouldn't be provoked. This Lu Yun was not afraid of any threats at all. Originally, he thought that as the son of Bigu Mum, no one would dare to kill him, but now he has a feeling that if he does not cooperate well, Lu Yun may kill him at any time. Lord Lu Yun, it's my fault. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know Mount High. I offend you. I beg you to spare my life. When Charlotte Cracker heard Chin Luo's words, she almost cried. He was still young and didn't want to die, so he could only plead for mercy. Chin Luo was also stunned by Vivi. He didn't expect that this cracker would be so cowardly and begged for mercy directly. It seems that his mind is still a bit far from the future pirate with 4 Admiral stars offering a reward of 800 million. Bang! At this moment, in the distance, Kyubi once again slapped Charlotte Katakuri with a slap, slamming him directly into the ground. Boy, don't be stubborn, you are not the opponent of this old man. If you play badly later, the boss must be a monster. Then, Ninetail's huge claws fell from the sky, and in Katakuri's shocked eyes, he grabbed him in the palm of his hand. Ninetails squeezed Katakuri, and no matter how hard the opponent tried, he couldn't shake his palm. Katakuri, who was caught by Ninetails, was like a small toy, held in the palm of his hand, so that the other party could not escape at all. Hey, Uchiha boy, you actually defeated the opponent before the old man. Are you provoking the old man? HMPH, if the boss told me to restrain my strength and couldn't kill this boy, I would have solved this boy long before you. Ninetails grabbed 590 Katakuri and walked in front of Chin Luo, looking at Cracker at Uchiha Itachi's feet, obviously not convinced. He was obviously dissatisfied with the fact that he was one step slower than Uchiha Itachi in completing the task, and could not help but argue a few words. Ninetails originally had a natural hostility to the Uchiha family, and naturally did not want to lose to Uchiha Itachi, which would make him very uncomfortable. It's all about doing things for the master, and the task is just done. There's so much nonsense, it's slow. Uchiha Itachi said bluntly, not caring about Kuo's mood at all. Boy, don't be too arrogant, isn't it just a few seconds too fast? Old man. Okay, don't argue, Jue, we are all a family, why are you so clear? You are making a noise, I will lock you up. Before Jue finished speaking, Chin Luo felt that he was interrupted, and he was asking him to continue. It was estimated that he was going to fight with Uchiha. This fox is really not the master of peace of mind. Beep, beep, beep. Just then, a phone worm sounded from Katakuri's body, and it was obvious that someone had called. Kyubi heard this voice. He grabbed Katakuri directly, and hung him upside down in the air, shaking stubbornly. Soon, a phone bug fell from him, grabbed Chin Luo Lingkong, and caught it. Chapter 204. The Big Mom is Soft 3/5 kneeling and begging to subscribe. When Chin Luo grabbed the phone, he didn't have to think to know who was calling. At this time, he was looking at Charlotte Linlin. With the phone in hand, Chin Luo didn't think much, and got on the phone directly. Katakuri, my son, how's the business I asked you to do? Capone Beige, Charlotte Nings, are they both okay? Over there, Bigu Mum's sharp and unpleasant voice came, and as soon as she heard the tone, she knew that she was very anxious. Capone Beige, Charlotte Nings. I've killed those 2 bastards. What, Baikumum, are you looking for their bodies? Chin Luo said coldly Isho, with a hint of teasing. For him, Big and Mom are just a little level of big pirates. Compared with Gorosei, 5 elders, there is still a big gap. He doesn't even pay attention to Gorosei, 5 elders, let alone Bigu Mum. He doesn't pay much attention to it at all. If the other party hadn't been useful to him, he would have shot and killed him long ago. Suddenly hearing an unfamiliar voice, Bigu Mum was also stunned by Vivi, but he quickly reacted, his face sank, and anger was already creeping on his face. You bastard, are you that Lu Yun? You dare to kill my Big Mom's son, are you impatient? HMPH, although beige is useless, his nutty is not that hard even if I shoot it. It's easy to break, you can't lie to me. After hearing Chin Luo's voice, Bigu Mum quickly heard who the owner of this voice was. That was Lu Yun, the mysterious and unpredictable Lu Yun. However, although Lu Yun is said to be a very strong person, in Bigu Mum's view, he is only a pirate of 500 to 600 million at best. He can only have special abilities. It can't be that easy to kill Capone Beige. Right. Yo, how dare you say that I can't live anymore, Bigu Mum, do you want me to go and settle accounts with you now? I tell you, not only Capone Beige and your son are dead, but your current 2 sons, also in my hands. Chin Luo put one arm around Momoshiki and pinched her waist, which caused a burst of dissatisfaction from the other party, but he didn't care, and continued to pretend to be on the phone with Bigu Mum. What, are Katakuri and Cracker caught by you too? How are they doing now? Impossible, their strength is only stronger than Capone Beige, how could they be caught by you, are you kidding me? On the phone, Bigu Mum's incomparably angry roar came, and the voice was so sharp and piercing that it shook the surroundings. Around Fishman Street was so frightened that he didn't even dare to let out the air, and even looked at Chin Luo with a hint of worry. Compared with Bigu Mum, he is one of the top pirates in this sea. Even an existence like Whitebeard would not dare to provoke them. Although Chin Luo is powerful, it is impossible to fight against that pirate, right? Since you don't believe me, then I will let your son speak to you in person. Chin Luo said with a sneer. Then, he gave Kyubi a look. Let that kid say a few words, it's better to be more exciting. Since Charlotte Linlin doesn't believe it, let her listen to the voice of his most beloved son. When Juwei received Chin Luo's eyes, he immediately understood, showing a sinister and evil smile. Boy, have a few words with your mother and let him know how comfortable you are now. As Kyubi spoke, the dark red chakra in his hand turned into a long whip and slapped Katakuri fiercely, splashing a bunch of blood on his back. Katakuri cried out in worry, a trace of blood spurted out of his mouth, and his face was pale. He was originally a cold-hearted, courageous and resourceful person, but in the face of the 9-tailed chakra whip on his body, the heart-piercing pain not only made him show a trace of fear. It was only now that he discovered that Lu Yun's gang actually did things more savagely than them, and they were ruthless and ruthless. Offending them was really bad for 8 lifetimes. Hurry up and say it, if you don't say it, you won't have a chance. Kyubi squeezed Katakuri fiercely, and said with a wicked smile. Looking at Ninetail's sharp teeth and the fierce look in his eyes, Katakuri finally gave up his resistance and showed a decadent expression. Mom, it's me, I'm your son Katakuri, I and Cracker were both caught by them, they're both strong, we're not their opponents. Also, Capone Beige and Charlotte Nings were indeed killed by them, now the bodies of the 2 of them are still hanging at the intersection of Fishman Street. Mom, you must decide for us. These are too cruel and ruthless, and they don't care about you at all. At the end of the speech, Katakuri was about to cry. It was the first time he had met such a helpless and powerful person as Chin Luo when he grew up so big, and he had been planted in their hands since then. Hearing Katakuri's cry, Bigu Mum finally let out an angry roar, the kind of anger that seemed to burn Chin Luo to death through a phone bug. In the face of Bigu Mum's anger, the surrounding pirates and the residents of Fishman Street trembled in shock. Charlotte Linlin is notoriously vindictive. If she launches a revenge against Fishman Street because of this, without Chin Luo, no one will be able to resist. Bigu Mum, I warn you, no matter how angry you are, it is useless to me. If you want to save your son, just fire the conditions that make my heart move, otherwise. Otherwise what will happen to you? My son of Charlotte Linlin, you dare to kill. On the other side, Bigu Mum said with complete anger. Chin Luo couldn't help showing a sarcastic smile and said, Bigu Mum, others are afraid of you. I am not afraid of Lu Yun. Your son and Capone Beige were both killed by me. Do I still care so much about killing too? Chin Luo didn't give out his real name, but continued to confuse Bigu Mum as Lu Yun. He just wanted to let people outside know that Fishman Street was covered by Lu Yun. As for what other people thought, he can't handle that much. After hearing Chin Luo's words, Bigu Mum on the other end of the phone fell silent. She doesn't care about other sons at all, and it doesn't even matter if they are killed, but Cracker is different from Katakuri. Among her more than 100 sons and daughters, she is the best and one of the two most talented sons. In order to cultivate them, Bigu Mum also paid a great price, found suitable devil fruits for them, and cultivated them slowly, and spent a lot of effort. These two sons did not disappoint her. They grew up very fast, and among many sons and daughters, they were also very outstanding. She didn't want her two sons to die in Chin Luo's hands like this. Well, what do you want? Say your terms. After a while of silence, although Bigu Mum's voice was sharp and unpleasant, it was obvious from the tone of voice that she was a little softer. Chapter 205 3 Conditions of Flowing Clouds. Hearing Bigu Mum's soft voice, Chin Luo couldn't help showing a smile as he held Jeju. He knew that Bigu Mum must be reluctant to let his two precious sons die so easily. After all, in order to gain a firm foothold in the new world, it does not depend on one person, and it is necessary to have capable men who can be used. At present, if Bigu Mum loses these two sons with amazing potential, the strength of the Big and Mom pirates will also be greatly reduced and hit hard. If this is the case, it will be difficult for his forces to go sailing with forces like the Whitebeard pirates, and they will be overwhelmed. This is something Bigu Mum is unwilling to face. Chin Luo was able to figure this out before he caught Katakuri and Cracker to threaten Bigu Mum. After all, in the current pirate world, Bigu Mum and Whitebeard are still one of the strongest pirate forces. Except for Roger and the Golden Lion pirates, they should be the strongest. Such a big pirate must have an extremely rich fortune, and Chin Luo naturally would not let such a blackmail opportunity pass by. The condition is very simple, just 3 o'clock. Chin Luo showed a smug smile, looked at the hateful eyes of Katakuri and Cracker, and didn't put it on him at all. 717. 3 conditions. Your kid is a little too greedy, aren't you afraid of dying? When Bigu Mum heard Chin Luo's opening, there were 3 conditions, and he roared angrily. This is really a very shameless person, and he is simply a robber. At this time, the villagers on Fishman Street, as well as the surrounding islands, criminals, and even Momoshiki in his arms, all looked at Chin Luo in shock. Gollum. Lu Yunshin is too mighty. Hockey, how dare he so blatantly negotiate terms with Bigu Mum, and he proposes 3 at once. It's really amazing. Yes, this is obviously the lion's big mouth, and only Lu Yunshin dares to be so domineering. If it were someone else, he would have been destroyed by the Bigu Mamu group long ago. Lu Yun God is worthy of being the patron saint of our Fishman Island, and he will be my only belief in the future. At this time, when they heard the conversation between Chin Luo and Bigu Mum, everyone gasped at the same time, and there was a lot of admiration in the eyes of Chin Luo. This is the patron saint of their Fishman Island. No one is afraid, no one's face is given, it's too awesome. Whether I will die, you don't have to worry about it, just ask if you agree. If you don't agree, I will tear up the vote and kill your son immediately. Chin Luo sneered, and without giving Bigu Mum any face, he directly replied to Hockey. Hearing Lu Yun's disrespectful words, Bigu Mamu suddenly became angry. If it weren't for the distance, she would really want to split Lu Yun and cut him into 8 pieces. This is so irritating. It's the first time in a long time that someone dares to ignore him like this. It's like completely tearing her face off. No, her son is in the hands of others, so she has no choice but to make concessions temporarily. Well, let's talk about it. If I can accept it, the deal can go on. If you touch my bottom line, even if I fight with you, I won't let you get your wish. After all, Bigu Mum is a bloody and violent female devil. In the face of Lu Yun's threat, she doesn't want to be completely pinched by her nose. After all, she is a famous big pirate, and she has a lot of elite soldiers under her command. It's a big deal, and it's a win-win situation, and she dares to do it. Chin Luo squeezed Momoshiki, soft waist proudly when she saw that her goal had been achieved, showing a conspiracy successful smile. Momoshiki was teased played by Chin Luo, and immediately slapped him on the shoulder angrily, but the force was soft, without the slightest aggressiveness, obviously not really angry, just shy. Tsunade, who was standing behind Chin Luo, suddenly felt a little tasteful in her heart. She stood behind her alone and gave Chin Luo a massage. The two of them were good. They flirted directly in front of him, which really made her feel ruthless. Bite Chin Luo hard and take revenge on Chin Luo's impulse. It's very simple, the first condition. That is, I want to announce something. Chin Luo said. Big EPUB said, announcing what? Chin Luo said with a smile, that is, in the future, Fishman Street will be my Luyan's private domain, and other forces must not interfere in everything here. I know you used to be the controller behind Fishman Street. I'm sorry, I will change it here in the future. Master, you can no longer interfere in the affairs here, can you do it? Chin Luo did not hesitate, and directly stated his first condition. Although he didn't announce it, as long as he was on Fishman Street, it would be fine, but he couldn't stay here all the time. As long as Big EPUB, the former owner of Fishman Street, quits and announces that this is his Luyun site, it will be less troublesome, and other pirates will not dare to come here to make trouble. You know, where even Big EPUB announced his withdrawal, other small fish dare not come here to make trouble. Okay, tell me your second condition. When you let go of my two sons, I will announce to the public immediately that Fishman Street is where you are. After being silent for a while, Big EPUB agreed to this condition. To her, losing a sight on Fishman Street was nothing at all. In fact, what she cared about most was the sap of Yangshu in Fishman Street. That's why she's been occupying this place. The Yangshu sap from Fishman Street is the essence of Baoshu Eve. It is one of the main ingredients for making top desserts, and it is also her favorite. However, over the years, she has saved a lot of Yangshu sap, enough for her to use it for another year and a half. When it runs out, she can just come over and grab Fishman Street, it's not a big deal. Loss. Seeing that Big EPUB agreed, Chin Luo was not surprised and continued to put forward the following conditions. My second condition is similar to the third condition, so I will propose it together. Chin Luo said slowly. Big EPUB roared. Hurry up and say it, don't be mad and waste my mother's time. Facing Big EPUB's roar, Chin Luo remained unmoved, and said with a calm smile, it's very simple, give me 20 devil fruits and 1500 buckets of yang sap, this is what I am. The last two conditions. As long as you agree to these conditions, how about I let your son go and reunite your mother and son? Hearing Chin Luo's last two conditions, Big EPUB couldn't help but burst into anger. He couldn't hold back the anger in his heart any longer, and screamed loudly. Little devil, are you looking for death? This condition is too much appetite, you just go strong, I don't have so many devil fruits and Yangshu sap, you can kill those two unsatisfactory beasts. My Big Mom pirates will not hesitate to declare war with you. Big EPUB was really affected by Chin Luo's last two conditions. He didn't expect Chin Luo to dare to open up such a big mouth. This is simply extortion. Chapter 206-220 Devil Fruits. There was a smile on Chin Luo's lips, and the breath on his body suddenly cooled. Big EPUB, do you really think I'm negotiating terms with you? Big EPUB only felt a chill behind him. Chin Luo's graceful figure gradually glowed with blue light, and an unprecedented coercion descended on him. Rao was a leader like Big EPUB, and he heard a little coercion from him. The voice didn't feel like shrinking his neck. What do you mean? The latter clenched his fists tightly, his huge body shaking. Believe it or not, I can not only kill your two sons, but also bury you with me. Chin Luo tilted his head, with a bloodthirsty smile on his lips. His pupils changed wildly, and finally stopped at the eternal kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. The bright red eyes flashing, pierced the heart of Big EPUB, and the coquettishness revealed tightly wrapped the heart of everyone present. This man, it's so scary. Big EPUB's heart trembled, and an inexplicable fear rose up. This was the power of coercion, but Bigumum didn't know it yet. She glanced behind her, and there were still a group of minions who followed her, but she couldn't lose face in front of them. 10 devil fruits. Bigumum gritted his teeth and shouted out the compromise conditions, glaring at Chin Luo. Oh, 10. Chin Luo was disdainful. Of which, this Bigumum and the Gorosei, 5 elders are really incomparable. After all, the latter was extorted by Chin Luo for hundreds of devil fruits. As for Bigumum, only 10 pieces were bargaining, which made Chin Luo unhappy for a while. Of course, this is also Chin Luo reaching a certain height. The devil fruit is on the great root, and someone with some means can ask for one, and they will go bankrupt. You are also some kind of mom pirate group. It's not enough to take out such a thing, and it's not enough to be laughed at when you say it. Chin Luo's merciless ridicule made Bigumum's face hot. The fuck? He really thinks that devil fruit is not a resource. 10 pieces without a counter offer. Who else in this sea can make such a big deal? Bigumum's teeth were itching with hatred. Even if he was as strong as Whitebeard, he didn't dare to make threats so easily. This Chin Luo really ate the guts of an ambitious leopard. Bigumum quickly pondered the gains and losses in his heart. How is it? Have you thought about it? Chin Luo was a little lazy, and wrapped his arms around Momosagi's gracious waist, which caused her a sigh of anger. Okay. 20 devil fruits, no price increase. Immediately release my 2 unworthy sons to my mother. Bigumum gritted his teeth, and the hatred bursting out of a pair of gloomy eyes seemed to swallow Chin Luo alive to relieve his anger. Can you be angry? I was thinking of leaving some Yangshu sap privately to satisfy my cravings, but now everything has been swept away by this man. In the face of Bigumum's compromise, Chin Luo looked indifferent. On the other hand, when looking at the crowd below, they all stared at each other with big eyes. I promise. I really promise. One of the fishman's mouth opened wide, and even the halberd in his hand dropped to the ground in surprise. 20 devil fruits. 20. As expected of the god of flowing clouds. So many of us have never seen one. Even Big Mom doesn't dare to think about Fishman Island anymore. We are completely equal. The cheers from below came one after another, and Chin Luo's appearance was like a savior, bringing the atmosphere of the entire Fishman Island to its climax. And Tsunade, who was behind him, saw Chin Luo's back and his expression was strange. How many secrets does this man have? How many people has he rescued invisibly? Thinking about it, there was an abnormal crimson on his face. Naturally, Tsunade's careful thinking Chin Luo had no way of knowing. A while, 20 devil fruits were brought to the front by the pirates of the Big Mom pirate group. Chin Luo glanced at them and accepted them. Who was on the other end of the phone, endured the pain, hurry up and return Katakori and Cracker to my mother. Chin Luo turned his head and signaled that Juwei could remove the strip of cloth that was stuffed into Katakori's mouth. Mom, save me. Katakori's voice was deafening. These people are so scary. Especially the fox in front of me. Unbelievable, the boss of this fox is someone who even compromises with his mother. How powerful is his strength? After Katakori was released, he flexed his muscles and was kicked out of the door by Ninetails. What are you doing? Let Cracker go too, Katakori roared while holding back the fear in his heart. When Bigumum on the phone heard the words, he was furious. Luyun. I respect you for your extraordinary strength, but don't even think about it. Playing tricks on the old lady. The old lady has already given you what you want. Put the cracker away too. Chin Luo turned his neck sideways, and made a rattling sound, noisy. His eyes were extremely cold, as if covered in ice. Bigumum, did you forget something? Wei paused. It seems that your brain is not very good, so I will reluctantly remind you. The 2 conditions I want, you have only completed the latter one, the remaining son, you have to wait for you to complete the first one. Chin Luo said that the cloud was light and the wind was light, but he jumped up and down Bigumamu angrily. This monkey, over and over again, is clearly playing tricks on her. Although Bigumum gritted her teeth, she was completely passive now, and since she had given up the devil fruit, there was no need to care about it. My mother knows, the news will soon spread throughout the Great Route. In the future, my people in Charlotte will never touch Fishman Island again. I hope you, Chin Luo, can keep your word. The pirate group, but none of them are vegetarians. Quote. Chin Luo could smell her strong hatred in the receiver, and gently curled his lips into Isho. That's natural, I'm not like you, I still don't care that much about the two lackeys. Bigu Mamu was so angry that he wanted to throw the phone bug, but because the transaction was going to the last step, he had to endure the trembling all over his body. Come on, let the old lady out with the news. Charlotte. Linlin released the news that the Fishman Island kept the water from the well and did not violate the relationship with the river. The news spread across several islands in an instant. This news is still reaching farther and faster. After Chin Luo received the report, he nodded in satisfaction and waved his hand, indicating that they also let Cracker go. Did you really let us go? Cracker was obviously a little lost. Chin Luo sneered, I don't care if you want to stay and do errands to pick up shoes for me. No, I'm going, I'll go now. After speaking, Cracker quickly ran to Katakori's side, supporting each other. It's too slow to use, I might as well send you off. After Chin Luo finished speaking, a sly smile appeared on his lips, raised his toes, and kicked the two of them on their waists. Katakori and Cracker were kicked all the way in an instant. Everyone condensed, and after a while, a frenzied cheer erupted. Chapter 207 Attack Impel Down. Lu Yun God is really amazing. Not only did the Charlotte family frighten away, I also got 20 devil fruits. This time, even Big Mom dare not invade Fishman Island. We are equal. Chin Luo had a faint smile on his lips. If he was excited, it would be better than Momosegi's pair of waves wrapping around his arms, smiling again and again, you're so awesome. Chin Luo lowered his head and pinched her face, allow you to worship me for a while. At him for a while, and his eyes filled with envy for Momosegi. It's the king. Here comes the king of Neptune. After a few rough shouts, Chin Luo turned his head, and Nipton walked towards this side with huge steps. Lu Yun God. He bowed. Old man. Chin Luo narrowed his narrow eyes, what? The old man is very grateful for everything Lu Yunshen has done to Fishman Island. Neptune shook his huge body and smiled ingratiatingly. What are you going to thank? Chin Luo Nui said with a smile. Lu Yunshen really killed the old man. Now the entire Fishman Island is the Lu Yun God, and the old man has all the Lu Yun gods. Nipton's face became difficult, which angered Chin Luo Isho. You are so boring, old man. The old man has prepared a banquet in the Dragon Palace, and sincerely invites God of Clouds to attend the banquet. Neptune's face burst into a smile. Chin Luo licked his ears, I'll watch the time, I'm very busy. Everyone was silent. In this Fishman Island, only Lu Yunshen could refuse the invitation of King Neptune. Night, Momosegi was comparing her clothes in front of the fitting mirror. Chin Luo deliberately waited for Momosegi to change her clothes before slowly saying, I don't plan to go to the banquet tonight. Why? Aroused everyone's surprise. Master, do you really want to refute that? Nipton's face. Juwei jumped over and looked at Chin Luo. He is the god of flowing clouds, so what is a Neptune? Tsunade disdainfully wrapped his arms around the waves on his chest. Chin Luo snapped his fingers, I want to eat too, but we have other plans tonight. What other plans do we have? Even Tsunade couldn't help but wonder, showing the depth of Chin Luo's hiding. Our plan, Chin Luo deliberately put on a long voice and said, attack Impel Down. What? Push, Impel Down. If you say shock, only Momosegi will understand the mystery. Is Impel Down great? Momosegi, why are you so surprised? Ninetails wondered. Momosegi straightened his face and said in a serious tone, Impel Down is one of the 3 major defenders of the Marine headquarters, and there are countless outstanding people in it. It has always been an important place to imprison violent pirates, and there are many escapees. Or the prisoner, but the number of survivors. 0. This value is terrifying. There are countless masters on this great route. There is no one who can save people from Impel Down. It is said that on the last floor of Impel Down, most of the criminals imprisoned are legendary figures of the great route. Even they are imprisoned in the endless abyss and will never be resurrected. Ninetails listened to Momosagi's description, and pursed the fangs on his lips. Really so powerful? No, it's far more terrifying than I described. It's a human purgatory. Momosagi is serious, but although the description is extremely terrifying, in the eyes of everyone, they don't care at all. After all, behind them, there is a godlike existence like Chinluo. But why are we going into Impel Down? Tsunade pointed. Chinluo nodded, cleared his throat, and spoke to him. That's right, what a city. On the Great Route, it really counts as a lot of stuff. We're going this time to save the flying section. Flying section. Everyone was suspicious. How did he go to Impel Down? He was defeated by the Gorosei, 5 elders, and thrown into the Impel Down. Chinluo said concisely. Isn't it? Feijuan is such a weak chicken. Tsunade couldn't believe it, but he believed Chinluo's words without any surprise. Ha ha ha, I said why he didn't dare to come back for so long. In the end, he didn't get the devil fruit, and he was defeated by 5 old men. Ninetails burst into a crazy laugh, covering his stomach. The group made a fuss for a while, and Chinluo summoned people to secretly summon the people to prepare the boat. Originally, they just wanted to go alone, but they couldn't hold back the enthusiasm of the group. Ninetails, look at Feijuan, how can there be less jokes about that kid? Ha. Momosagi looked expectant. I want to see Lu Yunshin brave Impel Down. Tsunade clenched his fist silently, as if to say that if you dare not bring your old lady, you must be a eunuch on the spot. So a warship set off from Fishman Island in the dark and bypassed the Sabayati archipelago. Luyun God, why do we go sneakily? Tsunade was puzzled on the boat. With Chinluo's strength, it would be easy to crush Impel Down, but now it's really puzzling to take advantage of the night to attack. Chinluo hooked his lips. To beat a rat, it's time for the night. Chinluo used the protection of the Overlord of the Sea, and in an instant he reached the front of Impel Down. A white-clothed marine in a seagull suit shouted, "Who are you? This is Impel Down, don't trespass." Chinluo was too lazy to take action in the face of all the little scoundrels. The pressure on his body was instantly revealed, and the little marine trembled to the ground on his knees. Powerful. It is too strong. There is absolutely no room to fight back. Little Marine resisted the horror in her heart and asked Chinluo with a trembling voice, "What on earth are you from?" It's just that before he finished speaking, another wave of coercion pressed him to the point where he couldn't breathe. Little Marine was speechless in pain, as if a big hand was pinching his neck. Chinluo used universal pull to float Marine in midair. Marine finally saw Chinluo's figure on the battleship, dressed in black robes, covered with red clouds, and with a mask on his face. It's a cloud. He is Lu Yun. Marine's eyes were splitting. Chinluo's complexion was suppressed by the coercion of his aura, and he had no doubt that as long as Chin 4.4 Luo stayed here for a while, he might die at any time. Gate of opening. Chinluo gave an order that was not salty or light, but Marine was shocked. He tried his best to open the door of Impel Down, but after a while, his body suddenly loosened. The battleship of the god of flowing cloud had long since disappeared before Impel Down. Marine picked up the phone bug like crazy and dialed out the inner center of gravity shouting, "No, not bad. Lu Yun has come to Impel Down. Defend. Get them to defend." He was panting frantically, looking at the endless sea outside the watchtower with lingering fears. The night was heavy, and the sea was surging. It's really terrifying, this man, Lu Yun. No one can beat him. Impel Down, to fall. Hello, what did you say? What's the loss? Marine Vice Admiral. The phone bug was still shouting, but the previous Marine, his face sank suddenly. Chapter 208 Capture. Marine leaned forward suddenly, the corners of Juwei's mouth filled with murderous intent, and then turned back to the boat. That Marine reported the news of our arrival to the Deep Defense Department. Ninetails showed the white fangs between his lips. It's going to be a big fight. Chin Luo was calm. His red and dark robe made him even more handsome, and the corners of his mouth evoked a strange arc. It's not too hard to deal with these scumbags. As the warships deepened, a large number of Marines poured out from Impel Down, along with dozens of warships. The Marine flag was raised in the air, and Chin Luo's ship was besieged in an instant, as if it had become an Asura field. Luyun, I urge you to surrender as soon as possible. The strength of our Impel Down is no better than the shrimp soldiers and crab generals on the Sabayati archipelago. If you dare to take a step forward, the legend of your Luyun will be destroyed in an instant. Facing such a provocation, Chin Luo narrowed his eyes and his lips were full of irony. You are very courageous, but unfortunately. He lengthened his voice, and Vientiane Gravity Suspense Marine, who was shouting loudly, in the air, panicking underneath. What are you going to do, Lu Yun? Bold, release Vice Admiral. What a trick. Chin Luo's thin lips 13 lightly opened, his eyes filled with bloodthirsty killing intent, unfortunately, too weak. He finished speaking. Vice Admiral's body exploded in an instant, red blood splashed on the ship's board, and the Marines on dozens of battleships opened their mouths in surprise. Real. It's terrifying. One of the Marines took the lead in raising the question, arousing the horror of the crowd. This man, what is his strength? You didn't even move your fingers, yet. He killed Hellion Vice Admiral so easily. Chin Luo's eyes were ice cold. If the people below knew that Chin Luo did nothing at all, the Marine Vice Admiral's self-destruction would be caused by the coercion on his body. That Lu Yun must have eaten some strange devil fruit. Don't be frightened by his ability. He is an ability. We will attack him with Seastone. Vice Admiral in a jersey roared, and his words managed to save a lot of people's minds. Yes, it's just a cloud. We're no better than the rubbish in Sabayati. Come on. A group of Marines bullied them. Momosugi looked very clearly from behind. A group of despicable guys, who guessed that the boss was capable, all brought Seastone weapons. Oh, how can the power of the boss be defiled by those capable people? Tsunade scorned Isho, his golden hair surging secretly with the night wind, and his red lips parted lightly. Ninetails. Huh. Let's compare in a moment. Of these Marines, which one of us has won the most? Tsunade's words were very soft, but he unconsciously exuded a chill. In addition to his own deterrence, he also got along with Chin Lori over the years. Part of the reason. You are sure to lose. Juwei grinned his white fangs, but in an instant he walked to one of the Marine's battleships, and his claws rushed towards the two Marines, and the powerful force connected with the group behind him. Catch fly. Good. So strong. When did he get on the ship? Impossible. Our Marine is guarded by a membrane. How did he get in? A group of Marines were full of fear, and only the sharp claws of the Ninetails were left to answer them. It's terrible. They're too strong. Marine sighed on another battleship. What nonsense. You're discouraged before you start a fight. How did I teach you? Roller Blind Vice Admiral gave him a shudder. The shirt on his body was a little bleak in the night, and his sturdy wrist pinched Marine's neck. Fuck it for Lao Su, if anyone says some useless words to disturb the military's heart, such a person. With a click, the Marine didn't open his eyes again. Marine bite the bullet and shouted, Big, everyone. It's just a cloud. We are Marine, the glory of death. Before he finished speaking, a fragrant smell of wine fell on the ship's board. Who's drinking? Roller Blind Vice Admiral snarled. Tsunade fluttered his long golden hair, his red lips in the night were particularly attractive, and a strange smile overflowed from the corners of his mouth. It's me. How did you break through the prison? The Marines were instantly distracted. Oh, who am I, but a mother-in-law, shouting you Lu Yun Lao. Grandpa beat him to the knees and licks. The roller blind erected the broad axe in his hand, and Vice Admiral's momentum was fully revealed. The laughter didn't stop, and a heavy blow landed on his hard belly, and the roller-blind Vice Admiral was instantly knocked away, fluttering like a feather, but a human-shaped pit was dented on the ship's board, showing the force. How big? Roll, roller shutter Admiral. Tsunade's slender long legs stepped on the belly of the roller-blind, fluttered his long blonde hair, and sighed like a blue, keep your mouth clean. You don't need the boss to deal with you bunch of scumbags. After saying that, Tsunade exerted force on his hands and feet, and forcefully pushed the body of the roller-blind Vice Admiral down a few points. The wooden deck of the ship instantly spread out the dense spider stripes. Tsunade showed disdain. If Chinluo was doing this, the whole ship would sink to the bottom of the sea in a matter of seconds. Less than a moment, dozens of marine warships were destroyed in an instant by Tsunade and Kuo's search. The moonlight was like frost, shining on the warships at the front of Impel Down. Let people see without trembling. Boss, Marine has already been wiped out. Jue jumped in front of Chinluo, and the chilling aura on his body instantly disappeared. Me too. Tsunade walked over gracefully, facing Kyubi. I destroyed 11 warships. I'm also 11, too few to be enjoyable at all. The two talked freely, and the fish that slipped through the net threw on the ground and pretended to be dead, and couldn't help but wipe away tears. These monsters. This is all 22 warships. Even pirates with a bounty of over 100 million dare not win a warship with confidence. It was solved so easily. How powerful is this Luyun? When Jue and Tsunade were arguing about who killed more people, Chinluo's mouth curled into a sarcastic smile. There's a fish that slipped through the net, didn't you find it? As soon as Chinluo's words came out, Marine, who was lying on the ground and pretending to be dead, couldn't help shaking, and the fear in her heart would swallow him up. Chinluo approached step by step, and when he was about to approach, Marine jumped up and ran hysterically towards the interior of Impel Down. Luyun has come to slaughter Marine. Hurry up and tell Lord Guerrera. Marine yelled. Momoshiki was about to come forward to chase, but Chinluo stopped him lightly. No need, leave him to tip off and led their leader out. The group of people fell to the ground, and the night was lonely in the sky. Kuo said, that Marine just now survived in the warship you killed, so I won. Chapter 209 Eulala Family. Who am I supposed to be? It turns out to be Luyun. I have been looking up for a long time. A rough shout came, only to hear him but not to see him. Tsunade's charming eyes narrowed, and he sighed like blue. Yes, whoever pretends to be a ghost there, get out of the old lady. I came out long ago. Can't you see me, prisoner? It was that voice again, hoarse and ethereal all around. Momoshiki straightened up. Who is your prisoner? Come out. Don't anger the boss. Gorain prisoner, you are still being ignored as always. A man came out from the depths of the prison, wearing a black robe, a pair of pointed horns, pointed ears, and a sausage mouth on top of his head. Shut up, Magellan, if you make fun of my figure again, I'll tell you to get the hell out of here. Until then, a small voice and shadow appeared in front of everyone, and he was roughly the warden Galara in Magellan's mouth. But the body is like a tiny flea. If you don't look carefully, you can't see it clearly. You're Galara. Momoshiki stuck his neck out, surprised. Yes, I am Warden Guerrera, and Impel Down is my territory. Galara straightened up, with a weird smile on the corner of her mouth. You're Momoshiki, aren't you? Marine's traitor. Momoshiki's expression changed. What did you say? Just in time, Chinluo's low voice came, indifferent as ice. My people, there is no need for a flea to force me. Chinluo's words were very intimidating and terrifying. Is this the full strength of your Impel Down? It's really disappointing that you actually sent a flea to be the warden. Presumptuous. How can Warden Guerrera be slandered? Magellan jumped out. The venom on his body was comparable to sulfuric acid, dripping on the ground and splashing the erosion sound of ZZ. It's just that none of the people present showed fear. Ha ha ha, the floating cloud god according to the legend of the mermaid is really funny and humorous, it's just. Galola's face sank, and then she flew quickly. Just don't look down on the fleas too much, you will die miserably. Galara's blow used armament hockey, and a strong footwind carried the wind, and Momoshiki, who was standing beside him, couldn't help but tremble in his heart. But Chinluo is not an ordinary person. Facing Galara's attack, he turned his head unconcernedly. Galara slammed hard on the boulder in front of the impel-down sea area, and the boulder shattered in an instant. Oh, it's so much better than those shrimp soldiers and crab generals. Chinluo turned his head sideways, and then a bloodthirsty smile broke out from the corners of his mouth. All doors are destroyed. What strength! Magellan swallowed his saliva, his mouth wide open in surprise. The strength of my feet is a bit strong, but I'm just going to deal with me, Galara. I'm afraid it's not enough. Galara just jumped up and landed on the ceiling of the cell. Her figure soared hundreds of times. His soaring muscles burst, and the gravel scurried towards the sea. Jailer Galara, the deployment chief of Impel Down, is famous for eating big fruits and has rapid strength, but his reputation in Marine's mouth is not very good, so he was sent to Impel Down to be the chief jailer. Momoshiki explained, Galara's reputation was only slightly heard when she was Marine. Warden Galara. Magellan's snot was flying in shock. He had been the deputy director for so many years. When had he ever seen Galara use such a great deal of energy to deal with a person? Even when Charlotte Linlin's people came, Warden Galara just became the size of a cell door, and then repulsed the entire Charlotte family. How terrifying is this cloud? Even Warden Galara was so afraid that it would fill the size of a cell. If Magellan knew that even Big Umum had been extorted by Chinluo for a devil fruit, he would not be surprised why Galara became so big. While Galara's figure was still growing, Jue first bared his teeth, raised his tail behind him, and looked dangerous. What, Galara? It's just a bigger flea. I'll know when I go up. Him. As fast as lightning. Haki's foot was so fast that it even caught fire and hit Galara's huge muscles directly. It's just that the 9 tails that went forward were fluttering like feathers, and were bounced back by Galara's muscles. What's the matter with you, 9 tails? You can't even deal with a flea. Tsunade stepped forward with disdain, and at the same time looked at Galara in front of him. His body swelled rapidly, and he was afraid that he had some strength. Mistakes. Jue sneered, his face unnatural. Yeehaha. Our Galara Warden is the only descendant of the Ulala tribe. Just rely on your little tricks. Go home and play in the mud. Magellan mocked wantonly, and the venom from his teeth dripped down his saliva. Ulala. Momoshiki's face froze. Momoshiki, what is the Urala tribe? Tsunade asked without ever leaving Galara in front of him. The Urala tribe is one of the races left over from ancient times, but it was heard that they became extinct 30 years ago. They are as small as fleas, and their muscles can bounce off everything. It is said to be comparable to the power of bullets. One of the racial talents. Momoshiki replied with a solemn expression. Ha ha ha, what do I think it is? 9 Tails laughed contemptuously. So this flea was described as a flea in ancient times, ha. The atmosphere that was still serious just now was disturbed by the 3 words of the 9 Tails, and Tsunade and the others all let out silver bell-like laughter. Galola's face sank. Ha, it's really rare to see him smiling so happily on his own death. Along with Galara's angry roar, powerful wrists attacked, Tsunade, Ninetails and others on the ground. Although they were talking and laughing, it was only a momentary effort to avoid his attack. The ground of Impel Down was smashed into a 5-meter deep pit by Galara, and the powerful palm wind reached the sea in the dark, causing a large wave. The flea is getting angry. Tsunade sighed charmingly, and then folded it to Galara's back in an instant, with her slender long legs lifted high. Let me see how elastic your muscles are. Bang! Tsunade's foot kicked Galara's muscles into a deep hole. Seeing this, her enchanting lips burst into a winning smile, but Galara suddenly burst out with a Gia, laughter and called out. People trembled. Tsunade's complexion changed, the muscles under her feet seemed to be alive, tightly wrapping around her delicate ankles, and she could even feel a group of wandering creatures in the subcutaneous tissue gathering towards Tsunade. What? In response to Tsunade, Galara's wicked smile was left behind, circling wantonly in the sky of Impel Down, as if to swallow people's hearts. Chapter 210 The Mystical Talent of the Urula. Everyone, don't come here, there's something weird about this Galara. Tsunade's expression changed, and he shouted at the nine tails who were about to run towards him. What is that? Momoshiki raised his head, his eyes bright and twinkling. I saw Tsunade's body sinking into Galara's body little by little, as if to devour her. I'll help you. Jue jumped up and jumped on top of Galara's majestic muscles. The chakra in the body burst out, and the powerful pressure shook the gravel below into powder, and then weathered. What kind of trick is this? Galara narrowed her eyes and leaned sideways to avoid the nine tails' attack. The tail behind Jue was like a precise navigator, quickly adjusted its position, and cut it off when it reached Galara's side. Shaved. Galara moved her position quickly with shaved, dodging the nine-tailed attack. The original ground was sunk into a 20-meter hole due to the fatal blow of the nine-tailed, and the dust was flying. So fast. Ninetails stood on the sand, her long and narrow eyes narrowed tightly, and it was rare to pay attention to Galara. I can't think of an Impel Down in a mirror. It's really Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I've won the prize. Galara let out a smirk, her muscles squirming quickly. If 217 hadn't reacted quickly enough, I might have been killed by your kick. Galara's words sounded like a compliment at first, but it was not. It was full of ridicule to Nine Tails. With a contemptuous smile at the corner of his mouth, he looked at Nine Tails provocatively, as if he was saying, even if you are powerful, so what? After all, I can't meet the old man. Jue was irritated by his eyes, intensifying the burst of chakra, and a bloodthirsty smile seldom burst into the corner of his mouth. Interesting. On the other side, Tsunade was trapped on Galola's muscles, and a pair of slender white and tender legs were rolled up in the muscles. Strange, it seems that there are living things inside, but why are the muscles as hard as steel? Quote. Before he finished speaking, the nine-tailed body jumped high into the sky, a layer of cold frost hit by the moonlight, like a god. Just a few seconds, the chakra in the palm gradually condensed into a real thing, powerful. The power of the sea even resonated with the sea, with columns of water constantly leaping from the waves. Oh, did you use a trick? Galara's smile widened. Every time she took a step, the ground under her feet sank a little, and she made a strange sound. I saw the nine-tailed hands folded together, as if there was blue fluorescent protection on his body, and he rushed down hard, straight to the top of Galara's head. The coercion on his body is like a miracle, and the sea water within 10 miles is all boiling and surging. What kind of trick is this? Magellan's legs softened, and he was overwhelmed by the powerful pressure on Jue's body. He slumped on the ground with a terrified face, and the strong wind cut his face like a knife. Help, help, help. I don't want to die. That Nine Tails is a lunatic. Who will save me? Even Momoshiki was implicated by Jue's Yue, so he resisted the discomfort in his heart and asked Shinluo, Boss, if Jue suddenly released such a powerful power, will it destroy this place? Shinluo's face was like water. Gecko poured on his shoulders. The riot in front of him didn't seem to affect him at all, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Interesting. What's interesting? Momoshiki's question remained unanswered. On the other hand, Galora, faced with such a powerful attack from the Nine Tails, avoided it lightly, and her grunting voice became more and more solemn. Even if your ability is huge, it will be futile if you can't get close to me. Galara's speed was extremely fast, and Shu quickly left the attack direction of the Nine Tails. Nine Tails seemed to have expected it, and when he saw him avoid him, he smiled instead. I guess you are a monster who will avoid. Galara, you caused your death today. I saw the chakra condensed in the palm of the nine-tailed, and turned the direction quickly. Before Galara's foot fell, the nine-tailed leaned away, and a fist fell into Galara's body, and the living creatures on her body began to go crazy. The movement was so powerful that even Tsunade could hardly resist. Under the palm of Nine Tails, Galara's originally hard muscles were like a piece of soft rubber, and a huge fist print was concave along the force of his palm, and a mouthful of blood spurted out. How could it be? Gorain Warden. With Magellan's heart-wrenching roar, Galara fell to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. You actually killed Warden Galara. No, it's impossible. Impossible. Magellan trembled frantically, and the blood that Galara poured out happened to fall on his shoulder, causing Magellan to cry and howl. You monsters! What purpose do you have? Momoshiki breathed a sigh of relief and walked up to Galara. Kyubi, Tsunade, are you all alright? As soon as the words fell, Galola, who had been judged dead by everyone, moved her fingers suddenly. What? Momoshiki didn't have time to react, so he was embraced by a strong arm and jumped to the other side. Old boss. Chinluo was expressionless, standing at a high place around Momoshiki, looking at Galara, who was slumped on the ground. A few purring sounds like boiling came out. Galara stood up in a flash, and uttered in her mouth. Gia smiled. Gia ha ha ha, little tricks, want to deal with me? I saw that the muscles on his body were shaking violently, like a beast who had been on a hunger strike for a long time, frantically absorbing food. His body was gradually growing, and a thick liquid was overflowing from his body. How could it be? Momoshiki covered her lips. Goloora is still alive, so what about Tsunade and Kyubi? Galara turned around. The green skin of a toad on her back was frantically oozing pus, and among them, the most conspicuous were the half-bodies of Tsunade and Nine Tails, buried inside, but the two seemed to be exhausted and closed. Comatose. Tsunade. Nine Tails. Momoshiki jumped from a height, but the pressure around Galara was so terrifying that she couldn't get close at all. Out appeared the ultimate form of Warden Guerrera. The legendary form. Saved ha ha ha. Magellan fell into a state of madness, fell to the ground, and muttered in his mouth. Momoshiki stepped forward and grabbed him by the collar. What did you say? A flash of fear flashed in Magellan's eyes, and he immediately pushed Momoshiki away. Stay away from me. You monsters. Don't come near me. Momoshiki also seemed to endure to the limit. You tell me clearly. What the hell is this Galara? What did he do to Tsunade and Kyubi? Ha ha ha, it's useless. Magellan got up from the ground, with venom gurgling out of his body. The Ulala family, the legendary Ulala family who feeds the secret in their bodies. The more you attack, the inside of Warden Galora's body, the more active the secret GU will be, quickly nibbling away your attacking power. You are sure to lose. As soon as the voice fell, Galara's body began to overflow with a stinging sound, as if to devour everything present. Chapter 211 Rubbish is rubbish. Boss, Tsunade and Jue are in his hands. What should I do? Now, Momoshiki had no choice but to ask Chinluo for help. Galara's figure was several times larger than before, and the green pus on her body flowed out rapidly, causing boiling as it reached the sea. Gia ha ha ha, what Lu Yunshin is, it's just trash. Galola turned around and looked at Chinluo. Didn't you say Lao Su is a flea? What? How does it feel when two of your subordinates die in the hands of a flea? Galola provoked, smiling bloodthirsty. If you want to save your two subordinates, kneel on the ground and lick Lao Su's toes called Grandpa 3 times, and I just put those two wastes away. How about that? Bold. Momoshiki couldn't hear it at first, and wanted to step up to teach Galola a lesson, but Chinluo stopped him with one hand. Boss. He said that. Momoshiki panicked. You can't beat him. Chinluo's face was expressionless, and there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. Galola seemed to be very satisfied with his performance, and the smirk in his mouth was even worse. You have some self-knowledge. Way done, Magellan. Magellan, who was horrified by the sight, said with a trembling voice. What's the matter, Warden? I want you to shake Lu Yun's rubbish ear until I'm satisfied. After speaking, the smile on his lips deepened. This is not very good. The Warden. Magellan was obviously frightened by the chakra of the Nine Tails just now. Just kidding, the power of one subordinate is enough to kill him hundreds of times. That Lu Yun is not sure how powerful it will be. What? You don't even listen to me. There was danger in Galara's voice. Magellan's legs trembled. Oh, how dare I fight now? After he finished speaking, he walked to Chin Luo tremblingly and swallowed. Luyun, I will now punish you on behalf of Warden Golora. Chin Luo's eyes suddenly turned cold, hitting Magellan, like an ice pool in the deep sea, making people chill. Golora Warden. I'm sorry. Magellan was slumped to the ground by Chin Luo's horrified legs, and his eyes were full of panic. You should fight by yourself. After speaking, Magellan quickly rolled to the corner. Trash, Galara said in a deep voice, her muscles working quickly, making a grunting sound. Luyun, I want you to accept your life today. Galola's palms rose, bringing a gust of wind, blowing up the red robe on Chin Luo's body. Chin Luo frowned, and a smile twitched at the corners of his mouth. Stop at centimeters. You two, what are you still playing? Chin Luo's voice was very light, as if he was talking about an unimportant matter, and the coercion in it was probably only felt by Galara in front of him. It's about time, but you dare to be stubborn, go to hell. It's just that before he finished speaking, the muscles on Galara's body twitched rapidly, and the grunting sound became stronger. How could it be? Golora's face condensed, but for a moment, two figures emerged from the sturdy muscles behind him, and the dark green pus erupted instantly, and as the two figures landed, rustling splashed on the ground. Ah! Impossible, ah! Galara's body quickly became smaller, and the huge roar was like a shattering sound wave, causing the sea in the distance to boil. And Tsunade and Kyubi also jumped to the ground in the bursting pus. Boss! The two walked to Chin Luo's side together. You two, how? Momoshiki stepped forward in disbelief. This Galara's body is really weird, and the person who is wrapped in something inside can't move. Tsunade snorted, disdainfully. Indeed, what Magellan said is that there is a family secret in Gu Lora's body, and it seems that it can devour people's power. Momoshiki thought thoughtfully. Ninetails followed Momoshiki's words. No wonder, when Chakra's condensed power hit him, he seemed to be attracted back and couldn't move at all. Then how did you break through? Momoshiki wondered. It's the boss, Tsunade said. Originally, we were attacked by Galara's power, but we were awakened by the voice of the boss, and then counterattacked at the same time. So it is. While everyone was chatting, they didn't realize that Chin Luo had already walked to Galara. I didn't expect you to wake up the person who was sleeping in my body. I have to say that it happened twice, but Galara wanted to stand up and fight again. Do you think this is the end? Won't lose. The muscles on Galola's body continued to run at a high speed, and when everyone thought he was about to make a comeback, Chin Luo's lips evoked a sarcastic smile. Zero asking for flowers. Who are you showing off your tricks? Golora's expression froze, then turned hideous. You are courting death. He waved his strong arms, obviously a little faster than before. Chin Luo no doubt flashed his entire body, and the ground was sunk into a huge depression by this heavy blow. Fleas, you should have the consciousness of fleas. Chin Luo's voice was calm, and he put one hand in front of Galara's forehead, and a savage breath followed. The sea also stirred up layers of waves, followed by a tsunami, a violent storm, and the sky above Impel Down was gray, as if it was covered with layers of sand and stones, and it was black and shining. What kind of power is this? Galara's eyes narrowed. At this time, he still didn't know what was waiting for him. A strong coercion hit him, with the power to destroy the sky and the earth, as if to devour everything in the world. Then, an incomparable force descended from the Galola Baihui all the way down. Chin Luo's fist smashed on the ground. The top of his head caused his whole body to shatter in an instant as if he had been run over by dozens of large trucks. No. The reverberation surrounds, and Galara explodes and dies in a matter of seconds. Instant, the clouds opened, a bright color floated in the sky, and the sunlight plundered and plundered, shining above the floating dust in Impel Down, and everything was eerily quiet. Golora is dead. Momoshiki whispered softly, pulling everyone's thoughts back. Boss, so strong. Although it was not the first time to know Chin Luo's strength, even Tsunade couldn't help but be shocked before facing such a difficult Yulala family. Chin Luo solved it with just a single punch, not even using 100% of his strength. This is the real powerhouse. How can you be our boss if you don't want to be strong? Momoshiki walked around Chin Luo and flew away. The boss is too powerful, I will reward you with a hug. Momoshiki in his arms is fragrant and soft, and Chin Luo's appearance is isho. I still need me to deal with this kind of stuff. You guys, you really have a good experience. Chin Luo said, while Tsunade blushed and turned her head away. HMPH, if it wasn't for that flea's plot, how could my mother be defeated so easily? Everyone's eyes fell back to Golora, leaving a pool of green pus on the ground. In this world, there is no one from the Yulala family. Chapter 212 Unparalleled Power. Forgive your life, a brave man. Magellan tapped on his knees, begging Chin Luo with a trembling body. Why is he hurt too? Momoshiki wondered. Magellan in front of him had broken black horns on his head, blood oozing from both eyes, and a pool of red blood underneath, shocking. It's probably because the boss punched Galara so fast that he was injured all over his body. Tsunade approached, disdain on his face. Heroes, I'm just a rubbish, don't care about me like that. Magellan's spirit has almost collapsed, and Galara, who has always been regarded as a god by him, died in Chin Luo's hands. Can you not be afraid? Where is Feijuan? Jue stepped forward and grabbed his collar, revealing his white teeth. Magellan was so frightened that he burst into tears. What a flying segment. Only the fake Luyun sent by the Gorosei, 5 elders a while ago. In the infinite hell, I beg you not to kill me, I can take you to find that what fly. Infinite hell. Momoshiki thought thoughtfully. It is rumored that there are only 5 hells in Impel Down, namely Gurren, monsters, hunger, scorching. Extremely cold. But where did this infinite hell come from? No wonder Momoshiki didn't know. That's what the insiders of Impel Down meant. Hiding the location of the ultimate detention can save a lot of cholera. It's the 6th floor. The 6th floor of Purgatory. Magellan shouted. The 6th floor. Momoshiki frowned slightly. It's the meaning of the old people, set the 6th floor to hide people's eyes and ears, and the pirates who have always been troublesome are on that floor. Magellan was terrified and was about to fall to the ground. Tsunade's white ankle slammed on his back. What, the 6th floor? What an old thing. Can you release the flying section directly? Magellan was about to cry, his voice trembling. This infinite hell is so powerful that even the insiders dare not approach it easily. He doesn't have the ability, let's find it ourselves. Chin Luo's indifferent voice came, and he stepped forward and kicked Magellan away. Magellan rolled several times in a row, his abdomen seemed to be run over by a big truck, and he vomited a mouthful of blood, which was just a light kick from Chin Luo. Yes, boss. Ninetails bowed. Would you like to solve this or something? Chin Luo looked around. No need, a scumbag, just to tip off the Marine headquarters. Lu Yun, are not so easy to bully. As soon as Chin Luo's words came out, Magellan on the ground trembled, and immediately fell on the ground and pretended to be dead. Under Momoshiki's judgment, the group quickly arrived at Gurren Hell. Of red spikes, everything in Gurren Hell is dazzling blood red, full of spikes, densely covered with a whole layer, and with black giant hairy spiders. Any creature that enters will be covered with hairy spiders. He was chased, and finally died tragically on the bright red spikes. The prisoners on this floor, even if they were not stabbed to death, could not escape the loss of blood. The smell of blood on the nose made Tsunade's face congeal. In addition to the bright red, there are only white bones left, which is really chilling. Save me, ah. A sharp voice came, and everyone turned their eyes. It was a bloody prisoner, dressed in a black and white striped prison uniform, who became the hairy spider's meal. Who are you? Help me, please help me, ah. I can give you treasures. Give you great glory, as long as you save me. Similar screams were heard. Momoshiki frowned. this is only the first purgatory. It is said that the imprisoned place of Impel Down will only be more severe than the first. It is hard to imagine what Marine is doing behind the scenes. How savage. As soon as Momoshiki finished speaking, several giant hairy spiders staggered towards Momoshiki, making a low chirping sound. No, they're coming our way. It's the blood of the prisoners who died before. Tsunade frowned. No, they came from a direction. The giant spiders here seem to have been instilled with self-awareness and will recklessly attack those who come here. Ninetails sensed the danger and grinned in defense. Boss. Everyone approached Shinluo in unison, making full preparations that even if they were injured, they would never let the giant spider hurt Shinluo. Some little tricks. Shinluo raised a sarcastic smile and stepped forward without fear of the bloody spikes under his feet. Shinluian stepped lightly, and every step he took, the bloody spikes under his feet would be calmly stepped into the ground. It is full of flesh. Ignore external damage. For Shinluo, the blood-colored spikes on the Gurren layer, compared to his full body, are still too dishy. No, impossible. What's that guy from? He's not afraid of the spikes of Gurren's hell. Strong, so strong. Look, even giant spiders dare not approach him. What happened outside Impel Down when we were locked in? After a few voices and expressions, Shinhan walked forward unmoved, and under the stunned eyes of the group, he walked into the black giant spider. The spider stepped back, seeming to be extremely frightened of Shinluo in front of him. He dressed in a red robe made Shinluo more and more mysterious. Kai, under the strong pressure of Shinluo's approach, an 8-legged spider larger than the other black spiders jumped and threw himself on Shinluo. Are you crazy? That person doesn't dodge or hide. It's a black spider. It's poisonous. I thought that there was someone who would save us from the fire and water, but I didn't expect it to be a fool. It's a pity that his flesh and blood is like an iron wall. Under the doubts of everyone, the giant spider pounced on Shinluo's arm and bit the latter's arm. Everyone gloated, but the black spider jumped down Shinluo's body and fled in a hurry as if seeing a god. Shinluo on the back showed a weird smile. Hearing the sound of Poochie, the giant spider exploded in an instant, and the green blood was strangely dyed on the blood-colored Gurren, leaving only a trace of coquettish charm. How is it possible? People in the Gurren level can't survive if they are bitten by a black spider 0.0 spider. This man is really terrifying. He was immune to the poison of the black spider, but killed the spider instead. Who is he? Who is he? Amid the hysterical shouting of the crowd, Shinluo's thin lips parted lightly, noisy. As soon as these words came out, there was an immediate pressure to reach into the distance, and a large piece of blood-colored spikes in front of him shattered into foam in an instant. You guys, what are you still doing? Shinluo said blankly to Momoshiki and the others. Okay, boss, we'll keep up. Juwei was the first to react, walking on the flat road cleaned up by Shinluo. I remembered it. The newcomer among the prisoners felt as if he had learned something new. He is Lu Yun. He is the Lu Yun god of Mermaid Island. You can't go wrong. The red robe and black cloud have immeasurable strength. This man is come slaughter Impel Down. Chapter 213 Second Floor. Beat. A few people ignored the exclamations behind them and moved forward quickly. Momoshiki looked at the deep pit in front of him and pondered. There is no other exit on the first floor, so it must go to the second floor, which is this black hole. Let's go. Shinluo's voice was indifferent, and he jumped into the dark hole first. Momoshiki, Tsunade, Kyubi and others followed closely. The second floor is the hell of monsters. It is rumored that this floor is full of monsters, and it is even more powerful than the poisonous spiders on the first floor. Momoshiki explained with a solemn expression. Before he finished speaking, a scream came. Ah! Go away, chops! The people on this floor will be a bit more vicious than those on the upper floor. In front of him is a man with a black beard, naked, with a scar on his face. Who dares to get close to your grandfather and me? He just roared, and then intimidated the beast in front of him back a few inches. It's Boob Scar Carl. Momoshiki was surprised. Is it great? Tsunade looked contemptuous. Momoshiki Ten eased his face and said solemnly, it's not very powerful. He used to be a little famous in the North Blue generation, but because he ate the boob fruit, it gave Marine a headache. I didn't expect that he was secretly imprisoned in the level of monsters. Momoshiki smacked his tongue secretly. Of course, compared to the boss, he is still a scumbag. Huh, the scarred man seemed to notice the movement here, and walked over with a trembling fat body. What are you new bastards talking about me? I don't know what's wrong. Juwei's face turned cold, and he stepped forward and brought the scarred man down. I thought it was some kind of stuff, but I couldn't even hold it. It's more than that. After verifying it personally, Ninetales treated Carl with even more disdain. Damn, bastards, if I hadn't been handcuffed by Seastone, I wouldn't have been defeated by you bastards. The scarred man spit, naively thinking that his defeat was all because of the Seastone handcuffs on his hands. However, in the eyes of Kyuubi and others, the man who can be restrained by the mere Seastone is a piece of garbage. But it's no wonder that the scarred man is so confident. On the first floor of the beast, all those who are tired of escaping have their eyes on Chin Luo and others. People on this floor are well known everywhere. The scarred man is even more so. He was imprisoned in this monster purgatory early in the morning, so it is no wonder that Chin Luo's reputation is unknown. Boom, underscore. With a few deafening roars, the ground of the entire beast purgatory was trembling wildly. Before Chin Luo and the others could react to what happened, the faces of the people watching the show were ashes. No, it's buggy risque, one of them yelled. Forget it, it will come sooner or later. Everyone else was full of despair, as if they had already guessed their own ending, and even the idea of resistance disappeared with the polishing of time. No, if it was just buggy risk, it wouldn't make such a big noise. It's blood. The smell of blood. Only the death of similar monsters can trigger the competition of other monsters. Quote. It was just a rough shout, and a group of monsters came from a distance, with different appearances. The only thing that was the same was that the monsters who came together were all full of chills, so cold that they seemed to swallow their lives. This battle is definitely not caused by the death of a demon beast. Wei Dun, it's you. You are not the newcomers who were locked in. You came from Gurren Hell. The man's shouting drew everyone's attention to Chin Luo. You killed the poisonous spider on the Gurren floor. Chin Luo's complexion was dark, and he was dressed in a red robe, mysterious and unpredictable. Who are you? Hey, Chin Luo sneered, his voice indifferent like a god, making people daunting. It's really annoying to have 2 layers of purgatory cause such a big movement. This is in line with the status of the boss. Juwei's lips evoked a bloodthirsty smile. Little ones, Chin Luo shouted loudly. Yes, Ninetales and the others responded in unison. Up. With just a go, the pressure on Chin Luo's body was undoubtedly revealed, and the expressions of the masters present were condensed. Ninetales, Tsunade, Momoshiki and the others, as if they were given the order, with a smile on their lips, their bodies flashed, and they crashed into the rampant army of beasts. Quote. Are they crazy? There are so many of us that we can't necessarily deal with one of them. This man, he actually wants everyone under his command to die together. Mad. No, they're not dead. With a low voice, he put the eyes of all the people on the jumping Ninetales and the others. Those 2 women are so powerful. It's the Dafta flaming beast. Dafta, who was unsuccessful in our last group struggle, was dealt with lightly by that woman. What kind of strength this is. There are 3 commanders of extraordinary strength under his command, this man. Just how holy is this man? We are saved. We can live. In just a few words, all the beasts in front of them were quickly resolved by Ninetales and others, and the purgatory of the monster lair left a tyrannical smell of blood. Who are you? The scarred man stepped forward in time, his lips and teeth trembling. He was really frightened, and he felt the pressure from Chin Luo, which made him breathless. Luyun. Qin Luo's indifferent voice quickly spread, and the master's name was reeling in heated discussion. Lu Yun. The scarred man paused slightly. Has any of you heard the name of the big 310? Everyone shook their heads. Presumably the senior is a hermit master, and now I don't know why you came to this impel down. The scarred man's attitude was obviously a lot more respectful, and he also used the title of adult in the face of Qin Luo. I want to move this impel down. Qin Luo's voice was as silent as water, but all the people present opened their jaws in shock. Powerful. It is unpredictably strong. The expressions of everyone present were condensed. If others said this, they would treat it like a joke. It's just that Lu Yun is different in front of him. Everyone has seen his strength with his own eyes. All the pirates present were proud of their previous achievements, but since entering this impel down, no matter how big their ambitions have been, they have been polished up. They have no strength to toss anymore, they just want to die more comfortably. It is in vain for the man in front of him to speak so plainly that he wants to level the impel down. He should not be called Lu Yun or the boss, but should be, God. He is a worthy god. Flowing cloud god. Qin Luo didn't know what was in the minds of the people present. Momoshiki jumped out from behind and frowned. This is only on the second floor. There are still 3 full floors behind. We have to speed up. Qin Luo showed a long-anticipated smile. Who said it must go down layer by layer? Chapter 214 Arrive. Infinite Purgatory. Qin Luo's words did not carry any spirit. The surrounding aura suddenly decreased a bit, and the air was spun frantically under the coercion of strong coercion. His eyes narrowed slightly, and the red robe fluttered with the hurricane. The Tsunade people behind him understood what kind of magical power Qin Luo was going to use, and immediately retreated. Full body. In just an instant, Qin Luo's body rose to the height of 2 floors. Every inch he increased, the ground beneath his feet sank a little, until the sky of the monster hell above his head, and the whole purgatory was trembling for his growth. Qin Luo raised his feet and kicked down with 10% of his strength. The ground of the second layer Warcraft hell broke instantly with his move. Starting from where Qin Luo settled down, spider cracks continued to expand outward. What is God Lu Yun going to do? One of the people in the black prison uniform couldn't help asking in a trembling voice. Listen now. Qin Luo Haki. The sound wave shattered the prison door of the monster lair, making people tremble. If you want to survive, protect yourself. As soon as the voice fell, the ground of the monster lair was hollowed out. Ah! Except for Qin Luo's people, all the people present let out a heart-piercing roar, and the voice was heart-wrenching. The third layer, the starvation layer. What happened? It's the monster layer. Why is the sound coming to us? At that time, the hungry people did not know that Qin Luo's magical powers would be waiting for them. Qin Luo's eyes were fixed on a piece of yellow sand in the hunger layer, and the corner of his mouth evoked a sarcastic smile. Listen to the inmates in the starvation layer, Qin Luo shouted. Those who want to live will find a way to protect themselves later. After today, impel down will no longer exist. Qin Luo's indifferent voice, like a god, spread above the hunger layer, trembling into people's hearts. Who's talking? Don't play tricks. Is it someone from the monster level? Come and play with your grandfather. The discussion below came one after another. Qin Luo raised the corners of his lips sarcastically, and used his body to reach the full level twice, ignoring any harm. Bang! Underscore. With a few loud noises, Qin Luo penetrated the sky and ground of the 3-layered purgatory of hunger, scorching heat, and extreme cold, and reached the infinite hell in one fell swoop. It is not shocking. The huge movement caused a large piece of dust to fly. The sky of the infinite hell was pitch black, and there was only countless loneliness. I'm still alive. My lord is still alive, ha ha ha. My lord has walked out of the scorching purgatory. You can't think of that bastard from Galola, ha ha ha. A moment later, those who were brought to infinite hell by Qin Luo's blow were all reveling for their rebirth. A boiling cheer. Momoshiki patted off the dust in front of her eyes. locked her eyes on Qin Luo, who was standing at a high place, and leapt forward. Boss Tilda. Qin Luo fondly pinched her waist, holding her slender waist with one hand, staring at the criminals in the depths of the infinite hell. Quiet the motherfucker. A rough roar came from the deepest depths of the infinite hell cage, and the coercion it brought during that time made everyone present tremble. The weaker ones could no longer restrain the trembling of their legs. What a powerful force! Some of them whispered softly. Where is this place? This must be the infinite hell on the 6th floor. Tsunade came out from behind the gravel and put on Ninetail's hand. Infinite hell? What infinite hell? Didn't I come out? Impel Down only has 5 floors, where the fuck is the 6th floor? One of the curly-haired men couldn't help roaring. Keep your mouth clean. Tsunade's stern eyes made the curly-haired man who had just slurred speechless. The 6th floor. The legendary 6th floor. Ha ha ha. One of the prisoners in the prison uniform was the first to fall into a state of madness. A transparent liquid leaked from the corner of his mouth, and he smiled madly. In legend, some famous prisoners were imprisoned on the 6th floor of the super pirate on the Great Route. I actually reached this level of hell, and died without regrets, ha ha ha. Quote. What? There is actually a 6th floor. That is to say, we didn't escape. We even fell into the most terrifying bottom of hell. The surrounding people fell into a panic, and Jue took advantage of the situation to walk in front of Qin Luo. Boss, what are we going to do next? Just in time the air fell silent. The people below all looked at Qin Luo, who was standing at a high place. This man, the man who led them to escape the first few floors, but led them into another abyss. The red robe flutters, and the black clouds add to it. How holy is it? Hey, Qin Luo sneered suddenly, and turned to face the people below. The aura of a king on his body was revealed, which made people couldn't help but be convinced. Listen to the people below, he said, I know you want to escape from this Impel Down. Today, whoever finds me a man in a robe with a red background and black clouds, I will take him out of this Impel Down. Quote. Qin Luoyan's face was calm, and he didn't care. The people below had grown their jaws in amazement, and a frenzied enthusiasm appeared in his eyes. This is a godsend, to be able to get out of here, leave forever. Although some people in purgatory on other levels had given up their hope of life, but now there is hope for survival, there is absolutely no reason to leave it behind. What's more, the man in front of him is absolutely powerful. If he can get his favor. No, it's enough to get his protection. A man who can destroy Impel Down will definitely do great things in the future. The people below have different thoughts, but the only thing that keeps pace is to seize this opportunity to win Lu Yun's attention. It's just that in the gap between everyone's concentration, a gloomy Jia laughter came from the depths of the infinite hell. It was gentle and low, but it fell into the hearts of people and caused a circle of ripples. I think I'm holy, but I'm just a hairy boy. After defeating that bastard of Galola, I think I'm beyond the sky, but in fact, I'm just a clown who dares to show off in the infinite hell. The voice in the depths of hell was low and hoarse, as if someone was choking his throat. Tsunade snorted. What kind of rubbish are you? You don't know Mount I with your dog's eyes, so you have the nerve to put it out to satirize the boss with your little experience. Little girl, think twice about what you say, otherwise, you will die. When the ethereal voice struck again, it carried a powerful sound wave and attacked Tsunade straight. Colorless, invisible, and silent, the vast majority of people present couldn't even tell the direction. Noisy. Qin Luo's voice was like water, and the coercion that swept away indifferently collided with the real face of the man's sound waves. In an instant, there was an explosion in front of him, and the violent sound panicked everyone. The scumbag who can't even escape from the infinite hell has no right to shout at my people. Chapter 215 Fake Fly. Everyone sighed at Qin Luo's strength. Boy, you have some strength. The deep voice seemed to be gritted in the throat, and then sneered. Even if you can break through the first few layers of hell, in this endless hell, you only have to wait for death. Momosugi showed disdain. What kind of thing are you? Chin Luo stopped him with one hand before he finished speaking. It's important to find someone. If he doesn't believe it, let him not believe it. Under Chin Luo's call, a group of people searched for the flying section. In an instant, the shouts to Feijuan were endless. Boss. Zhu Wei walked in front of Chin Luo, nodding. It's amazing, although this 6th floor is not small, but we are looking for so many people, but we still can't find that boy Feijuan. Have you all searched seriously? Chin Luo said indifferently and called back all the people he was looking for. I've looked for the 3 columns over there. One of them replied, followed by more enthusiastic responses. Boss, could it be that the information is wrong? Tsunade walked over with her arms folded, her brows knit together. The news that Feijuan was locked on the 6th floor was revealed by Magellan. That poisonous man is lying to us. Ninetails analyzed the situation and raised 9 big tails. Momoshiki replied, there is such a possibility. Wei paused. Magellan's strength is comparable to Marine Admiral, but a man with such strength is so cowardly in battle, it is inevitable to suspect that everything is his well laid out. Quote. So, that's really a person with deep scheming. Zhu Wei didn't feel the anger of being deceived at all, but instead figured out the purpose of Magellan's move. Could it be that he wanted to take the opportunity to delay, and then go to Marine headquarters to move rescue troops? Is he crazy? Momoshiki frowned. I knew I couldn't beat him, but I called someone to kill him. Okay. This topic ended with Chin Luo's voice. Everyone is divided into 10 teams, and they go to each column on the 6th floor to find the flying section. Chin Luo redeployed, and a moment later, the scattered crowd below condensed into a team, and followed Chin Luo's call to search in an orderly manner. Time slowly wiped away, and the breath of the 6th layer of infinite hell became more and more solemn, and everyone's brows were covered with inseparable sad thoughts. Ah! The heart-wrenching shouts suddenly attracted Chin Luo. What happened? Strange, strange monsters. There are monsters. The prisoners on the hungry floor rolled towards Chin Luo, looking horrified. It's inside. It's so strong. All 10 of our group were eaten by that monster. Tsunade and the others also came to hear the sound. Does the monster have any other characteristics? What tricks did it use? Unexpectedly, the prisoner's eyes turned white, his whole body was soft on the ground, and his whole body trembled. I don't know. It's too scary. That's a prisoner, it's a monster. There's no such thing as a monster. Don't blame it. You've been a pirate, and you still believe in monsters. The scarred man Carl appeared behind everyone, and went to Chin Luo's side in a pleasing manner. Lord Luyun, look. I'm going to help you talk about what happened inside and see who is pretending to be a ghost. Before Chin Luo could speak, the scarred man kicked the prisoner under his feet. Go away, chop. While everyone was holding their breaths, the scarred man swaggered into the column. The monsters inside, don't pretend to be a ghost, get out of your grandfather. I heard a roar from the scarred man, followed by a strange silence for a few seconds, followed by a heart-piercing scream. When the scarred man rolled out again, half of his head was already missing. Ah, the monster is angry. It's that monster. It's him. As if seeing the most terrifying thing in the world, the man who had escaped from inside widened his eyes and stepped back frantically. Calm down. Tsunade restrained him from behind. You think about it. What are the characteristics of that monster? Momoshiki asked, leaning over. That monster has red eyes, a huge body, and blue flames. Red robe. He is wearing a red robe. Everyone was shocked by his words. Are you sure it's the red robe? I'm sure his robes are crimson red and bloody. In that case, it's a little bit more likely to be flying. Tsunade thought thoughtfully. Whether it is or not, it is necessary to go in and have a look. Chin Luo concluded, striding deep into the room. Ninetails, Tsunade, Momoshiki followed. As soon as he entered the interior, a deafening roar rang out. The scenery in front of them was pitch black, and there seemed to be something dormant in the shadows, as if to swallow them alive. Every time everyone takes a step closer, the pressure on their body will be a little heavier. Chin Luo, who has the full-level sky-defying skills, has no perception, but Momoshiki, who is behind him, can't stand it first. The further you go in, the more gloomy it feels. Chinluo's eyes narrowed, and he took Momoshiki directly in his arms, with a low voice, "I'm protecting you." Momoshiki's face turned red, and Xiaobu followed closely behind. "Let's go." Kyubi walked to Tsunade's side and reminded in a low voice. Tsunade will come back to his senses, and for some unknown reason, there will be a trace of discomfort in his heart, so he simply turns his eyes away from the pair of shadows in front of him. What a powerful force! Later, even Tsunade couldn't help but marvel. The blue flame that the person said just now refers to chakra. Ninetales narrowed their eyes, and seemed to be aware of the danger inside. Before everyone's voice fell, there was another thunderous roar, accompanied by a great airflow. This time, the airflow lifted the railing on the back, and the prison doors were all damaged to varying degrees. "Who?" Chinluo drank in a deep voice. The airflow stopped, and there was a frantic laughter from the depths. "Jia ha ha ha, you are finally here." A sturdy figure came out of the darkness, shaking the huge fat on his body, and thick liquid continued to pour down from the top, and he strode down on the ground, agitated. A burst of stone shattered. "Who?" Tsunade asked tenderly. "It's me, Feijuan." The man's voice was heavy and his eyes were red. As the man said earlier, the red robe on his body deepened, and the mask on his head was already shattered. "You are finally here." You are Feijuan." Momoshiki, who was in Chinluo's arms, couldn't believe it, and asked with slightly open lips, "How did you become like this?" "It's a long story." Feijuan leaned forward and placed his stout arm in front of the two of them. "Help me first, my wrist was handcuffed by sea stone." Momoshiki broke away Chinluo without hesitation. "I remember getting the key from the jailer." While rummaging, Chinluo suddenly burst into earth-shaking coercion behind him. The powerful airflow swept through everyone present. The air pressure blew up his red robe, and his voice was calm and powerful. "Aren't you really Feijuan? What did you do to Feijuan?" Chapter 216 Clone. Chinluo's words made everyone present on the alert. Feijuan smiled bitterly. "Boss, it's me. I did this because of the tricks of the Marines." S remarks were sincere. Momoshiki's face was full of sympathy, and his eyes were empty. "Boss, Feijuan was really wronged. Let's help him." After speaking, "Go to the flying section. I don't care who you are. Release the control of Momoshiki, and I can make your death more comfortable." Chinluo said coldly. "What? Control?" Tsunade couldn't believe it and walked to Chinluo's right side. "Boss, have you recognized his real body?" At Momoshiki again, his eyes are already dull, and his face is even more pale. Trace of disdain appeared on the corner of Chinluo's mouth. "It seems that you are determined not to repent." With a frivolous sentence, Chinluo shoved Momoshiki in his arms into Tsunade's arms, releasing the endless pressure on his body. "Back up." Tsunade, Kyubi and the two immediately retreated, and in a flash, the surrounding airflow was surging frantically, as if they had been given life and tried their best to spin. A thick liquid was flowing on Feijuan's body, and his feet were bare. He quickly broke Seastone's handcuffs away with a smirk in his mouth. Gradually, a physical ball condensed in his palm, flooded with blue fluorescence. "It's chakra," Ninetales exclaimed. "He also has chakra." Before he finished speaking, Feijuan leapt towards Chinluo. Chinluo flashed away, causing Feijuan's physical chakra to hit the ground, and the steel ground immediately burst into dense spider cracks. There was a lot of rumbling around. "Fake chakra, what a time." The corner of Chinluo's mouth evoked a contemptuous smile. His red robe swayed in the wind, and the mask was slightly tilted by the powerful coercion, revealing a smooth chin. Chinluo's figure flashed, and he used his full body level on one foot, kicking towards Feijuan's huge heart. The other party dodged and avoided Chinluo's attack. The prison behind him was already twisted because of Chinluo's easy kick. "Boss." Fake Feijuan seemed to be about to explain, and the words ended. "I don't like being called the boss by fakes." That, Qin Luo jumped and knocked down Feijuan's plump shoulder. It will make me feel disgusting. Feijuan's upper body seemed to be crushed by a giant truck, and his footsteps moved back quickly, rubbing a string of fiery flashes. At the same time, Qin Luo's exposed pupils were densely patterned, and in an instant, a blue light attached to Qin Luo's body. "What have you done to me?" he roared hysterically, but Qin Luo smiled contemptuously. "Take the way of the person, and treat the person's body." Qin Luo's mouth overflowed with a cruel smile, and he approached the fake Feijuan, who was forced to kneel step by step. "Let me go," he burst out with a strong chill, but he couldn't resist Qin Luo's domineering eyes. "Jia ha ha ha, Lu Yun, do you think you can bring me down with your little tricks?" Feijuan's expression sank, and he let out an arrogant laugh, his red eyes gradually turning black. "Oh, do you admit that you are not flying?" Qin Luo raised his eyebrows, and the pattern in his eyes gradually faded. "You can't win against me." "Jia ha ha, yes, Lu Yun, with the appearance of your subordinates, you can't win the fight." The fake Feijuan's smile became bloodthirsty. "But what if it was yours?" Before everyone could understand what it meant, the monster in front of him raised his arms suddenly. A burst of blue smoke filled the air, and the monster that appeared in front of everyone was already Qin Luo. "This is..." Momoshiki was surprised. "How about you? Are you satisfied with the power of my clone fruit?" "Clone fruit?" Momoshiki's face sank. "You are the clone King Jack. It turns out that you are also in the infinite hell on the 6th floor." "That was my name 50 years ago." Jack's expression changed, as if he was extremely satisfied that Momoshiki could recognize him. "How is it? Lu Yun, do you want to try to see the power of the cloned fruit?" Jack raised his eyebrows and moved quickly to condense gas in his left hand. "The power of my cloned fruit is not just about your appearance." Momoshiki frowned. "Indeed, the cloned fruit is the fruit that pirates have been looking for many years, because the cloned fruit can clone the fruit ability of other abilities." She raised her voice a few degrees. "Boss, Jack's ability may be able to copy other people's abilities, which is equivalent to the second you, be careful." Qin Luo nods his head, and smiles at the corner of his mouth. "Interesting." After he finished speaking, he flew forward quickly. Qin Luo only used 30% of his strength in this circle, in order to probe Jack's bottom. Ellipsis. 0 asking for flowers. But Qin Luo can use the upper layer of power to smash the huge steel and stone dozens of meters high into foam and no longer exist. The more the power is superimposed, the stronger it becomes. On a pirate with gold over 500 million, it can also be seriously injured and die. It's too late to say that. Qin Luo punched Jack directly. The muscles in Jack's chest were squeezed to the point of deformation. The surrounding coercion made the air violently collide. Qin Luo's lips evoked a sarcastic smile, satisfied return to the original place. "I'm also vulnerable when I'm a fake." After speaking, Jack, who had shouldered Qin Luo's punch, spit out a mouthful of blood, but the smile on the corner of his mouth deepened. "Jia ha ha ha, what do I think is an attack, tickling. Lu Yun, you are just like that. Be patient." When everyone thought he was dying to save face, Tsunade noticed Jack's condition. He didn't brag, the boss's attack didn't do him any harm. As soon as these words came out, 4 people were shocked. Sure enough, Jack's chest was still as bright as new, and even though he was as calm as 9 tails, he couldn't hold back his teeth. "I'm afraid that the ability to clone fruit is not only that." Momoshiki looked worried. After all, the 6th layer of hell is far from comparable to the force of the upper layers. "Interesting." Qin Luo's voice was as calm as water. The corners of his mouth curved into a shallow smile, and complex patterns quickly turned over in his pupils, and his figure also skyrocketed dozens of times in an instant. "Have you been provoked enough to use a trick, Jia ha ha ha?" Jack sneered, his arms suddenly thickened, and his body grew rapidly following Qin Luo's figure. The huge moment of the 2 people opened up the sky of infinite hell, and the huge vibration attracted the previous prisoners. What happened? The god of flowing cloud is dueling the monsters of the infinite hell. The crowd rushed in quickly, and Chin Luo's body was still skyrocketing. Jia ha ha ha, I wasted my energy. Lu Yun, I can do what you can do. If you can't win against me, you will be captured. Jack's arrogant smile ravaged the sky on the 6th floor, and the people below recognized him with a little sense of sight. It's Jack the clone. Oh my god. That's a godlike existence. The god of flowing cloud is fighting against him. Chapter 217 The Infinite Powerhouse is approaching. Obviously beg for mercy, Lu Yun. Chin Luo's face was heavy, and the man in front of him was making a low roar in a voice similar to his own, asking him to beg for mercy from another clone ghost. He suddenly issued, "No need to pretend, is it you?" "What?" Jack snarled. "When we first came in, the voice that asked everyone to shut up, and the person who sent out the sound waves to attack Momoshiki later, if I'm not wrong, it's your telephony technique in the clone flying section that's doing tricks, right?" Chin Luo methodical analysis, voice indifferent as ice. "Jia ha ha ha, I didn't expect you to have some brains." Jack laughed exaggeratedly. "Yes, it's me. But so what? Your power has no effect on me, and it doesn't help to keep increasing my size. Lu Yun, don't forget that I am a clone. I can always follow your steps and grow upward." He rode. Chin Luo sneered. "Yes, I have to say that the fruit you ate really refreshed me at first, but," he deliberately lengthened his voice, "that's all." "Jia haha, you are still showing your power so far." Jack exaggeratedly squeezed 2 tears from the corners of his eyes. "Suffer to death." With a rough shout, a huge coercion attacked Chin Luo. Chin Luo had a shallow smile on his mouth, and his voice was as cold as a ghost. "Really?" After speaking, Chin Luo's figure flashed, and the full-scale coercion of his body punched Jack. At the same time, his body was constantly getting smaller, and Jack also wanted to follow this, but it was obviously not as fast as Chin Luo. Fake people, they should stay in the dark and never turn around. Chin Luo pulled out a bloodthirsty smile from the corner of his mouth, like Satan walking out of the Shira field. The temperature around him dropped suddenly, and he moved quickly and threw his fists in front of and behind the jacket that was slowly shrinking. "Your biggest flaw is that the clone is always a beat slower than the original." This is the flaw Chin Luo discovered, and it is also the reason why he is so sure that the other party will die under his hands. The steel rock of infinite hell caused a violent roar under Chin Luo's rapid movements. Chin Luo's movements had already broken through the limit, and the people below could not be caught by the naked eye. Every time Chin Luo attacked Jack, his powerful feet would land on the walls of the infinite hell. In just a few seconds, every wall he landed on was covered with devastated spider cracks, densely packed. "Expand outward." "No, impossible." Due to the huge change in size before, Jack couldn't restore his body within these dozens of seconds, and could only endure Chin Luo's fatal blows. Chin Luo's full-level physical body does not ignore all attacks in principle. To be precise, it should be that all attacks are like itching in front of his full-level physical body, so it has the effect of immunity. It's just like facing the fake Jack, and his full body is fake, and facing Chin Luo's attacking power, he must be overwhelmed. "Ah!" With Jack's terrifying cry, his body was like a deflated balloon, shrinking inch by inch under Chin Luo's attack, and the surrounding walls were instantly turned into powder under Chin Luo's quick footsteps. Chin Luo got down and stepped on the back of Jack, who was bleeding all over, and locked their eyes tightly on Chin Luo's figure. "Fight, beat. It's a lie. Actually, I really defeated the legendary clone god." Shock. It's unbelievable. The Chin Luo in front of him is no longer as simple as the previous savior. In the eyes of the pirates below, the people detained in the 6th layer of infinite hell are the legendary pirates. Although Chin Luo broke through the first 5 layers of hell to surprise them, it is still shocking to see him easily defeat the legendary clone Jack. It is incomparably strong. Chin Luo naturally didn't know what they were thinking. Jack's body under his feet was twitching wildly, his stomach was churning for a while, and he vomited out a large pool of black blood in an instant. You. He was talking intermittently. Chin Luo saw this, and the strength under his feet became a little heavier. Where did Feijuan get you? Jia ha, Jia ha ha. Jack vomited another mouthful of blood and his eyes were red. You can't kill me. He didn't answer Qin Luo's question, but turned his eyes to the front. What are you old people hiding behind? Come and help the laborers. Everyone has not yet realized what happened, and they don't even know what medicine Jack's gourd bought. It was just a moment later that Qin Luo and the others at the scene felt cold on their backs and cold sweat on their foreheads. What is this? Everyone looked left and right, all looking for what happened. Between the cages previously destroyed by Qin Luo, men with different statures gradually emerged, some as small as a mouse, and some as big as an ancient tree. The only thing that is the same is that in the crowd gradually approaching Qin Luo, no one does not exude a strong coercion. For a time, so many powerhouses gathered, and even Qin Luo couldn't help frowning. Jia ha ha ha, Lu Yun, what if you beat me by chance? This infinite hell is locked up, and there are not a few people who are stronger than me. Jack's words carried a trace of madness. I want to see, yes you die, or I die. Jia ha ha ha, quote. The prisoners on the other 5 floors gradually condensed and were surrounded by the gradually approaching infinite hell prisoners. Not only their strength should not be underestimated, but their numbers are also staggering. Hard to imagine how much the Marine government spent in locking up these people. No, it's not good. The face of a person in the hunger layer was ashen. It's the legendary big pirate. As soon as his words fell, there were a few panicked voices in the crowd. Hey Simida, the power of the hurricane fruit. The strength is 540 million. All members of the Pop Green Pirates. Legend has it that the bounty for each crew member has reached 500 million pirates. God, they are the legendary pirates. It's over, this time it's over. The prisoners on the 6th floor outside the crowd smirked strangely at the corners of their mouths. In an instant, a gloomy wind blew up and surrounded them, seeping into everyone's pores, causing people to feel a chill. Jia ha ha ha, you all come and help Lousy and kill Luyun, this bastard. Jack crouched on the ground and laughed, and one of the people on the outside sarcastically said, Son Jack, you are so fucking ugly. Jack laughed arrogantly. Ha ha, misstep, save me quickly, and then we leave this impel down together, I'll have a drink then. The crowd approached, and there was a different smell in the dark. Chapter 218 Break out of Impel Down. This person must be the hero of Luyun. Hey, Simida's body is thin, and she looks at Qin Luo with a pair of eyes. Qin Luo raised his chin as a response. Are you also going to attack the boss like that prisoner? Tsunade leaned out from behind with a charming expression. The waves in front of his chest were like 2 huge white doves, making people unable to look away. Yeehaha, Simida didn't pay much attention, but turned her eyes to Qin Luo with great interest. Hey Simida, don't listen to that bitch, as long as you rescue me, I will give you half of my property outside. Jack was afraid that Simida would change his mind temporarily and leave him alone. Yeehaha, Simida said, Jack, you old bone, won't you stay in Impel Down for a long time, and you don't even understand the rules of the Great Route. If you want Lao Su to save you a piece of trash, where do you get your face? Simida satirized Isho, then turned to Qin Luo. Master Luyun, thank you for your generous help this time. 10. That bastard, who used to have a bad mind, now happens to be in the hands of Hero Luyun and kills him righteously. Naturally, we won't intervene more. Hey, Simida's words were full of pride, but all the people present knew from the bottom of their hearts that in this Impel Down, there are a few people with clean hands and feet, but it's all because of Simida's strength. It's hard to open the mouth and pierce it. That's it. No, hey Simida, you traitor, you can't do this, beast. Jack was hysterical, with a flicker of panic in his eyes. Oh, Jack, tell me, why should I save you? Simida was enraged by his words. Jack's face brightened, and he wanted to refute, but was suddenly interrupted by a thin steel needle. The iron needle was inserted into Jack's head, and he was killed on the spot, who had been screaming before. All of this is undoubtedly not from the hands of Simida. Everyone took a deep breath, but Zenita walked over to Qin Luo's side, bowed his head obediently. Master Luyun, I have already taken care of this offal for you. After finishing speaking, he turned around. I am present on the 6th floor. The pirates in my life, they all sold me, Simida, for a face, and today, the hero of Luyun, is my best friend, all have some eyes. From killing Jack to making a name for Qin Luo, Simida's purpose couldn't be more simple, to climb Qin Luo as a high-ranking cadre. Although Qin Luo understood, he was too lazy to answer. Simida was reluctant. I first heard that Hero Luyun was looking for a man with a red robe and a black cloud just like him. Have you seen it? There was an instant silence. Okay, since that's the case, let's go look for it together. Alas, Simida became the leader for a while, and everyone present was afraid of his status as a bounty of 600 million, although they were a little sneered at him for being so flattering. But had to admit that Qin Luo's identity really had the qualifications to please everyone present. Everyone had no choice but to take action under the call of Simida. No need, I'm here. A rough voice sounded, and everyone's eyes were attracted. Feijuan was dressed in a red robe, with black flowing clouds over his body, and he looked imposing. But the others were startled for a while. No, it's impossible. 2 Luyun gods. Amid the heated discussions around, Qin Luo was too lazy to explain, walked around Feijuan and nodded to him. Zhu Wei leaned forward with bad intentions. Good boy, how embarrassing you can be given to Lun by those 5 old men, haha. Feijuan's face turned red. I made a mistake, I was plotted by those 5 old men. Being counted can only prove that your cultivation is not enough. Tsunade stepped forward enchantingly, reaching out and grabbing Feijuan's ear. Damn, in order to save you alone, you killed a group of us in trouble. I have to apologize to the old lady when I go back. Clean the floor of the Dragon Palace first. Feijuan-san, isn't it said that you are already torn apart? Momosegi's face was filled with worry that could not be resolved. Hee, Feijuan was easily Isho, I am immortal. Although those 5 old men have some strength, they are still too bad to kill me. It was just a simple conversation, but the group of people behind them couldn't be surprised. Immortal, how awesome is that? It seems that the strength of this flying section will not be much worse than Lu Yunshan. The faces of the people below were different, and together with some of the best who had broken the 500 million bounty, they also looked strangely tight when facing Qin Luo and the others. Qin Luo didn't know it. Vivi nodded. Since things have been accomplished, it's time to set off. He turned to the crowd behind him. Let's go. Zhu Wei Momosegi nodded and planned to follow Qin Luo out of the impel down. The expressions of the people who came down from the first 5 floors were condensed, and one person shouted boldly, Master Luyun doesn't plan to bring us. A hint of sarcasm flashed across Qin Luo's face. Only Tsunade and the others understood that according to Qin Luo's temperament, Duan would not rescue others easily. Seeing that Qin Luo was ready to take a few people out of here, the prisoners on the 6th floor would start to worry. Wait, Luyun, one person shouted loudly, but Qin Luo led the group out of the impel-down sky with agility. Some prisoners who were delusional hoped that Qin Luo would lead them to escape were greatly disappointed. Hit. Jia, the old man will not play with you 700 scumbags. A curly-haired man from the infinite hell said, flapping his hands quickly. A pair of thin wings grew out of his back and moved towards Qin. The big pit Luo smashed flew upwards. I'm leaving too, leave the hellish place impel down. The other man also muttered something, and after a while, his long slender ears quickly turned over, taking his entire huge body to the sky. In a short while, the people scattered in the 6th floor of the infinite hell were using their unique skills to escape from this place where they had been imprisoned for decades or even more than 100 years. What? They just left like this? Most of the people who can use their own strength to escape are old people from the infinite hell. After all, ordinary people are not as powerful as Qin Luo. If this impel down was really so easy to escape, they would not have been locked up at the beginning. came in. Having said that, there are not a few who can escape here by themselves. After all, Chin Luo has already opened a road. In the sixth layer of hell, there was nothing but the wailing of the weak, which shook the sky. On the other side, Chin Luo will bring a group of people to the door of Impel Down, and there is a hysterical roar in the distance. Accompanied by huge waves, there is a slight turbidity in the sky, and the sky in Impel Down is bright. Change, the front gradually fainted with thick fog, and even the vision was blurred. Chapter 219 Tsunade's Jealousy. What's the situation? Momosegi's face condensed, and Vivi, a pair of beautiful eyebrows, frowned. Pirates followed in twos and threes behind him, and when they saw Chin Luo still standing in front of him, they all bowed. Master Luyun, it's not your intention to save us today, but we are not ruthless people. Today, I, Wu, have accepted your love, and he will be grateful to Dade. One after another, grateful voices sounded. One after another, Chin Luo looked at the sky in front of him. The drizzle hung down on his face, but could not cover the cold light in his eyes, like a knife that killed countless people, calling people intimidating. You can't leave. Chin Luo's voice was indifferent like water. The light wind hit his blood-colored robe, and his graceful figure was depicted as a high immortal who doesn't eat human fireworks. What do you mean by this, hero? Asked the man behind him. Marine is here. After speaking, the sound of the sea churning came from a distance, and it fell into the ears and made people hold their breaths. Marine's battleship held a large white flag with a light blue seagull pattern on it, and quickly surrounded the periphery of Impel Down. His grandmas actually surrounded us. A man with a beard behind him said. These Marines are such a pain in the ass. Impel Down has been destroyed so much that they still come here to make trouble. Jia, you should all think about your own situation. Another person retorted. At this time, the pirate team was like a mess of porridge, complaining one after another. The Marines fell into the Impel Down ground one after another. To Chin Luo's surprise, the group of people who had been complaining one after another, faced the arrival of Marine, and they all became a little bit of the same enemy. What Chin Luo didn't know was that the eyes of the people behind him were all fixed on him, and everyone who was present could clearly see Chin Luo's divine might. What if Marine has warships? The man in front of him could even pierce through Impel Down. They also just took this opportunity to see Chin Luo's ability. Luyun, sure enough, it's you. Marine Vice Admiral, who was in the lead, narrowed his eyes. You can kill Galora, but now you have broken Impel Down. Even the prisoners on the 6th floor are also released. What a motherfucker. It's your guts. Long-haired Vice Admiral snorted loudly, and the sound seemed to be sprinkled with layers of gravel. Hey, Chin Luo smiled contemptuously. Why does Marine have such a short memory and sent you a Vice Admiral to tell me that Marine is so pitiful that she doesn't even have an admiral? Chin Luo just wanted to embarrass Marine when he said this. To be honest, even if Marine headquarters sent Admiral here, he was just here to die. Cold-faced Vice Admiral, since you know that Galara was killed by the boss, a Vice Admiral in your area, I am afraid that even the Deputy Warden can't move, and dare to come to the boss to trouble him. I am afraid that he does not know the word of death. How to write, Momosegi said without a trace of emotion. Cold-faced Vice Admiral's expression turned cold. He felt the mockery from Marine behind him, and he couldn't avoid a burst of embarrassment. You are just a traitor. What qualifications do you have to shout in front of Lao Su? Langnian Vice Admiral didn't finish speaking. A cold breath approached Langdon's forehead. Before he could defend himself, he received a heavy blow on the head and fell to the ground in an instant. All the Marine soldiers gasped. No one dared to ask who did it, but they all had a judgment on who was behind the assassination. Go away, Chin Luo yelled at Haki, and Marine, who was crowded in front of him, gave way. So Momosegi Tsunade and the others followed Chin Luo frivolously, and no one dared to touch them. Swarms in twos and threes. The Marines thought that they were all being protected by Chin Luo and did not dare to act rashly. Chin Luo's footsteps stopped, but he swept his eyes behind him calmly, and said nothing. On board the boat, Chinluo's coercion unfolded so much that those who wanted to get away with his name had nowhere to go. The warship set sail under the watchful eyes of a group of people behind him. Seeing Chinluo's figure drifting away, the previous group of Marines only realized it later. Lu Yun is not protecting these pirates. Quickly arrest them. Express to Marine headquarters. Ask them to send more staff. We can't fall. A radiant voice, but it has nothing to do with Chinluo. The sea breeze mixed with saltiness blew on his face. With a hint of coolness, Momoshiki jumped in front of Chinluo with a contented face. Boss, today is really cool, tilde. Chinluo took off the mask on his face at the right time. How many times have you said this sentence? Momoshiki put on Chinluo's arms shyly with the attitude of a little woman. I can't say enough times to worship the boss, tilde. Chinluo whispered Isho and grabbed her slender waist with big hands, as if he was extremely satisfied with her. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought our ship just came back from our honeymoon. Tsunade's face flashed a bit of complexity, but in the face of Chinluo, he quickly concealed his inner discomfort. Boss, where are we going now? Juwei jumped forward and asked. Of course it's back to Fishman Island. Chinluoyan replied calmly. Damn it, boss, just after you finished the impel down in Marine, you swaggered to Fishman Island. Aren't you worried about the pond fish? Fei Duan stiffened. You don't understand that. Juwei stepped forward and patted Fei Duan's shoulder. The boss just extorted 20 devil fruits from Big Umum not long ago. A pen, but when it comes to the Great Root, it is not considered a waste, and it can also play a role in knocking mountains and shaking tigers. Quote. And according to Marine's plan, if there is such a strength to attack the boss, we can't let us go in from impel down, and bring someone out. Momoshiki looked disdainful, nestled in Chinluo's arms, and learned with a warm. Fei Duan, you haven't said it yet. You made us all exhausted to save you. Is there any compensation? Tsunade squeezed Fei Duan's ear, deliberately not looking at Chinluo. But Momoshiki's little bird Yiren always bumped into her eyes inadvertently, making her feel uncomfortable. It hurts. Fei Duan took a deep breath and whispered, I still believe that others are exhausted. You are an alcoholic. You are as strong as a cow, and you are still exhausted. I think it's probably because of excess nutrition. What did you say? Tsunade deliberately increased the strength of his fingertips, and sent Fei Duan's ears the strange feeling of seeing Chinluo hug Momoshiki. Wow, you are a man. Who will marry you in the future? It hurts, take it easy. Fei Duan clenched his teeth and begged for mercy, but Tsunade's strength was suddenly sent in his words. Yes, she is like this, which man would want? Momoshiki in his arms was looking at her with a worried face. The two of them were so right that they made her feel dazzling. Damn, I don't care about it. Chapter 222 Hegemony. Tsunade's silence, in everyone's eyes, is nothing but exhaustion after victory. Sailing all the way to the vicinity of Fishman Island, there is a quarrel in the distance. Even though there is a distance of 100 meters, the violent collision sound seems to happen in front of me. Boss, there are two teams in front of them. It seems like they are fighting each other. Juwei stood at the bow of the boat, and his eyes were like torches, scanning the two sides fighting on the sea in the distance. Should we take a detour? Momoshiki cautiously. It's not necessary. It was Tsunade who spoke. Whether it comes from our identity or the character of the boss, there is no reason to detour. Momoshiki nodded knowingly. What about us now? She asked. Chinluo's eyes sank. Now wait and see what happens. Everyone was at ease and concentrated, but in a short while, the sky changed suddenly. The sea water at the bottom of the boat was also rising and rising, constantly surging and boiling. Terrible things happened. Boss, this. Momoshiki looked puzzled. I don't know which two pirates are colliding. It can cause such a big conflict, and it can be regarded as a strong man. Ninetails made a pertinent evaluation, and stabbed Tsunade on the shoulder. Who do you think is 150? Tsunade's eyes were closely following Chinluo's back, and when he heard Juwei's question, he was also absent-minded. there are only so many powerful people in this sea, who can be. Jue followed her gaze and saw Chin Luo's graceful figure, with Momoshiki snuggling beside him, with a clear look. I'm clear. What do you know? Chin Luo strode forward, showing no emotion on his face. Hey, it's nothing. Jue hee isho, looking ambiguously on Chin Luo. The boss deserves to be the boss, even characters like Tsunade can be captured by the boss. Everyone obeys the order and turns the boat 50 meters eastward, Chin Luo said with a tone as pale as white water. What? The east is where they fight each other. Jue was surprised. Boss, even if we don't take a detour, we don't have to go straight through, it's too arrogant. Chin Luo's face darkened. Does your boss seem like such a boring person? Besides, he pondered a little, there are some things there that I am very interested in. Okay, you are the boss and you have the final say. The group of people moved quickly, and it only took a few words, and the two teams in front of them had already brought the war to the white-hot stage. Momoshiki covered her lips in surprise. My god. It's actually Roger. Nine-tailed eyes narrowed. Who is that golden goatee? It's the Golden Lion. Fei Duan jumped forward and looked at him. Both are the powerhouses of the Great Route. I didn't expect the two of them to fight. Momoshiki looked solemn. This is a well-known pirate on the Great Route. The collision of the two pirate groups will inevitably lead to a contest of winning and losing, and even a historical change. As for Chin Luo, the reason why he told them to turn the ship around was because he was interested in the tricks the two of them used to fight. He pondered for a moment, as expected of the powerhouse of the Great Route. As soon as Chin Luo's words came out, even Tsunade was slightly surprised. Chin Luo, when did he praise a person so much? Although these words cannot be called extreme praise, they also have the meaning of praise. Had to turn everyone's attention to the situation. I saw a bloodthirsty smile on the corner of Roger's mouth. He stepped on the moon step with his toes. The sea water swirled rapidly under his pressure, and his thick palm rushed towards Goldenbeard's chest. The latter pulled away, stepped on the air and rose to a high place, with a faint golden light on his body. Roger landed on Goldenbeard's boat just in time, and a group of pirates behind him shouted at Goldenbeard flying in the sky, Boss! Roger is in our hands. We have caught him now. Group of people rushed up, but were easily dodged by Roger. Roger put on a red robe, and his strange laughter caused the sea to tremble. He laughed loudly. Goldenbeard, it seems that your subordinates are still dead. Sex doesn't change. Goldenbeard blew his beard and glared at his subordinates. You all give me a fucking side, I'm going to fight Roger alone. Roger on the ship armor below bent his knees and hurriedly punched Goldenbeard on the head. Golden Lion was distracted. He never thought he would come across this move, so he used armament hockey to greet him. The two rock-solid fists collided together, making the sound of monstrous waves, and a powerful airflow flowed between the two's fingers, quickly knocking the members of the boat to the old man. It's just such a silent punch, but it's terrifying that everyone around can't be spared. The two went through a few more moves, and each move carried the potential of landslides and fissures, and all the people present had to maintain a high mental state at all times, so as not to be taken away by the strong wind. Chin Luo's eyes narrowed, a faint smile wafted from the corner of his mouth. Momoshiki sighed in his arms. It is indeed a struggle between the strong. Even we who are separated by a distance can feel the impact. This the Great Route is, after all, the depths of the hidden dragon and the crouching tiger. Quote. As soon as Momoshiki's words fell, the wooden deck lifted by Roger and Golden Lion's palms swept towards Chin Luo with the hurricane. Split the block of wood coming towards her with one palm, and Momoshiki's side, because Chin Luo was by his side, completely blocked the powerful deck for her. Tsunade's face suffocated, and he deliberately turned his eyes back to the battle. Roger, fights are fights, and it's not good to leave the war to others, right? Golden Lion's mouth curled into a smile. Even so, the fists in his palms were not lost. Jia ha ha ha, when will my battle with Roger be peaceful? Golden Lion, if you want to fight with me, you should be prepared to lose all your belongings. After Roger finished speaking, the two moved quickly, causing the movement to only increase. Boss, come on, the members of the Golden Lion pirate ship cheered hysterically. Boss, don't come back to see us if you don't win. The crew of the Roger pirate ship was not to be outdone. Gia ha ha ha, it seems that if you don't win this time, you will be expelled by the crew. Roger laughed, but there was a hint of coldness in his eyes. The mess is now like this, being driven away by the crew, did I hear it right? Are you really that rumored Roger? Golden Lion laughed, with a hint of mockery on his face. The aura of the two of them dropped suddenly, and the surrounding sea water slapped the air frantically, making a violent vibrato. If the battle just now was called a war at sea, then the next scene would probably be recorded in the history books. The two people's clothing skills surged wildly, and the strong wind did not affect the two's fighting spirit. A contest between the strong and the strong officially opened the competition.